Good morning, everybody. Welcome to today's NBAR meeting. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on a subject that is not on today's agenda?
We do not have anyone online and no one in the audience, so no public comment.
Okay, thank you very much. Member recusals, has anybody had any discussion with applicants or staff with regards to what is on today's agenda?
I need to recuse from items 1, 3, and 5. I did have some contact with the storage facility on Bradley, the Mitri Family Trust. Bianca, the landscape architect, called me for some clarification on my comments.
Okay.
And then I know Shannon said she was going to speak to the Solomon Hills project. I did have a conversation with Jay Higgins, their planner, a long time ago about the process for site visits for us.
Great. Okay. Anyone else? Okay, we'll move on to the agenda status report.
We have no changes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. In your packets, you were mailed out the meeting minutes for February 27th. I'm hoping that you've had a chance to review those. And if so, would you like to make any changes or adjustments to those meeting minutes?
I had no comments.
Okay. Then I'll ask now for a motion to approve those meeting minutes. Second,
Second.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. We'll move on now to the North Board of Architecture Review Members Informational Briefing. Does anyone have anything to share? Okay. We'll now move on to staff update.
Hi there. The only staff update I have is that on the Solomon Hills project, which is a new town in essentially immediately south of the Orchid Community Plan and partially within the Orchid Community Plan, on land that they're planning to repurpose from oil and gas production uses. It's a town of approximately 4,000 units. Commercial and office space and a number of institutional uses too, such as a school and a new fire station. And it's early in the process, but we just started the environmental review process and had a scoping meeting to solicit feedback from agencies and the public regarding the scope of the EIR. And that was on Wednesday in this hearing room. So that's also posted online. If any of the members are interested, I can provide a link to those materials and also to that meeting.
Great. Since it's
Fairness, though, I did also attend that meeting. I also attended that meeting.
okay.
Very interesting.
We crank it up a little bit, having a hard time hearing.
Yes.
Shannon, Jay was interested in at what point he would bring us out there to start getting us familiar with the site and the project, mainly the site in general. Do you have an opinion on when that should be?
I don't at this point. We will be scheduling an MBAR meeting for the project. There's extensive, I think it's like a 90-page design guideline and packet that the applicant's proposing would apply to future development. So you will be reviewing that as well as, you know, the details that we have at this point, like grading plans and things like that.
Would that be a special meeting just for that one?
It may end up being just given the scope, depending on if there's a Friday where we don't have other items, maybe that makes sense. But I think it makes sense to have the meeting before the whole of the board before scheduling site visits, just so you have a chance to all hear about the project materials in advance in a public forum. And then if if the board wants to schedule a site visit or if individuals want to go out to the site, I think that makes sense to happen after that initial meeting.
To what extent have they submitted any conceptual documents on this? Conceptual grading, conceptual site planning?
Yeah, so it's a specific plan that's proposed, so they don't have, plans for any structures at this point, but they do have conceptual grading plans. They have 2 different types of tract maps proposed. And in the specific plan, they've got, if similar to the Rice Ranch specific plan, if you guys are familiar, but, for different areas of the project site, there are different landscaping palettes, different materials proposed, that sort of thing. What will ultimately happen is I think there's like around 70 planning areas, which are neighborhoods that would then be sold to a third-party developer, and then they would just propose a project that's within the bounds of the specific plan to build out that particular planning area. So, we don't know what the structures will look like, but we know what guidelines they'll have to adhere to.
What about in terms of intersection with Highway 101?
Yeah, there are conceptual plans for access to both Highway 1 or 101 and 1, I guess. Yeah, it's 135 and then it's the 1. So we'd have conceptual plans for those that Caltrans has reviewed, but they have extensive comments. So those will be presented to you, but I imagine they'll end up looking significantly different
Okay.
as the project develops.
And there's no planned integration with the Orchid Community Plan at all?
Well, there are project components that are within the Orchid Community Plan. So if you're familiar with the site, that there's the existing New Love picnic grounds in the north of the project site. And those will be developed into a more comprehensive park. And there will be a trail system and things like that that connect to some of those orchid trails. In fact, there are orchid trails mapped on this portion of the site that is within the Orchid Community Plan area. But they're proposing an entirely new urban area that's immediately south of the Orchid Community Plan boundary. So the integration with the Orchid Community Plan is through the trail system. There are project components that are going to be running through Orchid, like utility connections and things like that, but they're not proposing direct road access into Orchid. Their connection points to regional transportation are at the 101 and the 1 or 135. I don't know where it changes exactly. It's close to where it changes.
And I'm most curious about the water.
Yeah, that's a big question. They are working on their, when you have, in the state of California, if you have a project over, I think it's 500 units, there's a regulatory requirement for when you have to provide a comprehensive study of the water source and document, its availability for an extended period of time. And so they're working with Golden State Water on that report right now. So we don't have it yet, but it will have to be provided before the draft EIR can be circulated. So it is forthcoming. At this point, we have a feasibility study that was like the preliminary report that they prepared in advance of that document.
One question, Shannon. Will it be a whole new township or is it going to be an addition to Orchid?
They're proposing an entirely separate urban area that's not connected to Orchid. However, there are some services that they're not proposing to provide within that township. So there will inherently be some, overlapping service. For example, there won't be a library in this specific plan area that they're proposing. So, things like that. They're not going to have all, the amount of commercial they're providing. There is going to be some, I don't know how to explain, but it's inevitable that also the school proposes K through 8. So the kids that live there will be going to high school in Orchid, most likely, things like that. But yeah.
Thank you. All right, with that, we'll move on to today's standard agenda.
On the west side.
With that, we'll move on to item number 1, BR number 25-00105, Mojo Quayside 2. If the applicant is available, please introduce yourself for the record and begin your presentation.
Sure, yeah. This is Taylor Judkins with Mojo Quayside 2. Thanks for having us back. So last time we came, so this is building 2 of Quayside 2. And building 2 is essentially attached to the existing grocery outlet building. So some of the comments we received last meeting were, number 1, include photos of the existing building. And then number 2, some of our elevations for building 2 kind of differentiated in color and material from building 1. And so the idea was to go back and make building 2 a little bit more contiguous with building 1, match the materials, and then show building 2 up against building 1. So these are some photos of the existing grocery outlet, which the side of the building is a kind of tan, reddish tan split face block. The front of the building is corrugated metal that's rusted with a facade that has a green standing seam metal roof, and then has varying degrees of siding. So there's vertical metal that's kind of a galvanized color, and then there's vertical metal that's white, and then there's also some reclaimed wood in there. And so, can you go next? So this is a superposition of building 2 adjacent to building 1, which is grocery outlet. So that left most white gable behind the streetlight is kind of the edge of that grocery outlet building. And so the new building would be kind of continuing just past those, to the left of those mailboxes. So what we did is we matched the decorative metal columns to building 1. So those white latticed columns matched the green metal, hip shed roof. And then we matched the siding. Previously, it was kind of a different colored stucco. So the idea is that you match the rusted corrugated metal siding that is right adjacent to it above that kind of gable with the white siding. So that rusted metal will continue all the way through building 2. And then on the tower element, that's when we kind of tried to match the feature where signage is going to go that matches the feature of the grocery outlet building. So the main grocery outlet where you see the grocery outlet sign, we tried to match that siding to the siding on the tower element, and then continued that kind of corrugated metal down it. Can you go next? I think we should have a side view here. So these are just more elevations, but then the bottom one is, it would now become the side view. So that is the matching split face block to what's the side of the building in building 1 right now, which is that first photo you saw. That one right there. And so that's that same block material. And then obviously you've just got a little bit more of a decorative roof with the storefront glass. Go next. I think that's pretty much it. So, pretty minor changes, but we think it matches building 1 and makes it a little bit more of a cohesive building since they are attached, versus the kind of multicolor situation we had going on last time.
All right, I'll look that for comments from the board.
Definitely a big improvement. The one thing that my eye keeps going to is the tower. It's an awful lot of white. And questioning, is the signage going to be similar to what's on the grocery outlet? Lit from behind, is that the sort of thing? And had you given any consideration to perhaps even doing that just in a simple corrugated metal rather than painting it?
Yes, so I guess it's hard to see. This is corrugated metal. It's just the galvanized color.
So it's not white?
Correct. I'm sorry. I think I misspoke.
Okay, I thought it was white because it looks white.
No, I'm sorry. It is white. It's matching the grocery outlet. So no, we didn't consider having the galvanized the metal look, which I think is what you're talking about, right?
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, this is like 4 times the amount of white is in the front of the grocery outlet.
so
And
this should match the same this should match the same white that is the grocery outlet frontage. That white with the grocery outlet sign. It's the same white.
I feel like it's the white, it's the scale. Okay, thank you.
Do you have a tenant for this building yet?
Yes. So it's a surgery center / doctor's clinic.
That's right.
So it's the continuation of the cottage. I mean, it's not cottage, but they're partnered with cottage. It's a continuation of the surgery center that's in the remainder of building 1 right now.
So a lot of that white space is going to be taken up by signage.
Correct. Pretty much the entire tower element will be on with signage.
Do you have any sort of image what the signage is going to look like, how much it's going to take up? I mean, that could be a lot.
I don't, I'm sorry, because the tenant would have to come back with the signage.
Do you plan for it to be approximately the same scale as the grocery outlet signage, or, you know, just an idea of size?
Oh, I'm sorry. I think I had myself muted. Yes, we would match the size and scope of the grocery outlet signage, and it would take up about 2/3 of that kind of white facade of the tower element.
I'm looking at, when we originally looked at this a long time ago, is this very similar to the original concept that we approved a long time ago?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. Can you repeat that?
The original concept drawings that we reviewed a long time ago. Is this very similar to that?
The elevation matches, the finishes differ.
Did the corner element look the same? Because it looks overscaled to me. It's like it's too big for the other elements that are in the building. And the hip and that sort of thing is a new element. And unless it was originally in there, but it just seems too big somehow. The columns are too big and the element is too big.
So we didn't change any of that. We only changed the materials.
Okay. Maybe it's also enhancing the size of the thing by putting the white up there on the thing. I would try a different tone or different color, maybe to make it recede a little bit, to give it a little more. It's kind of becoming kind of dominant.
Yeah.
The more you look at it.
I don't think kind of, Jim.
Yeah, well, and also it's 3-dimensional, so you're going to see it. It's going to be the thing you see when you look at this building rather than all of the other nice, you know, this and that that's going on.
Sure.
And the column scales, they just look, they look a little massive. And I understand it's the same, but it's also maybe the material that's being used. I'd take another stab at it.
I agree, and I'm concerned with the comment that the signage would be approximately 2/3 the size of the space. That's not the proportion of the grocery outlet signage. And as you said, on 3 sides, you're probably going to have signage on at least 3 sides then. And that's going to be a lot.
Well, you'd have signage on 2 sides. And I mean, I can be off on my approximation of the 2/3, but I hear you.
Well, I think looking at the scale of this end tower, which is really intended to kind of anchor the end of this complex, is proportionally larger than it would seem to be the appropriate size. I think it's probably at least a 1/3 reduction would be appropriate here. It's non-functional other than to anchor the end of this thing and provide some shading on the glass. My second comment was, and I can't really differentiate what that material on the existing building is. It looks dark brown up above the green shed roof. But I'm not sure why you would not have wanted to match that. This tan colored, I guess that's intended to be Core-10 perhaps, seems to stand out a little bit as well to me.
Well, no, that does match. So that is the rusted corrugated metal. So it's continuous with the brown siding, what you're calling brown siding on the grocery outlet side. It's
So
the
those are
same. It just shows up differently in the rendering. That's all the rust can do on the rendering.
Oh, okay, so you're intending it to be the same material.
Correct. It's the rusted corrugated metal.
Okay, thank you. Now that would definitely help here, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I guess on the tower element, when this went for conceptual, last meeting, we just got comments on the material palette. And so we went back and changed the material palette, and there were no comments on the size and scale of the tower element. And which is also the same tower element that was in the, project-wide conceptual originally.
Can we see that previous rendering?
Well, I understand that, but he hadn't submitted it, showing it next to the existing building. I don't know if that's why we asked for that to be provided.
No, the elevations that were
Context
provided showed it didn't show it next to the actual as-built building, but it did show it on an elevation.
Yeah, I see that here.
On the corner.
So I have a question for staff.
Since this came to us as a whole several years ago and was approved, can we now adjust scale on something that has already been approved?
It was never approved. It got conceptual review, but was never granted preliminary or final approval. So, the development plan fixes the amount of structural development that can occur, but there hasn't been an actual approval by the BAR. So, all you've seen is concept plans. So if you have comments about massing and design, it's no findings have been made by the BAR about the appropriateness of what was presented at a conceptual review. And if I recall correctly, there were similar comments made when the conceptual review was completed.
Well, I know there were no comments about the tower element, none. And it's in the summary also.
We can look back at, I think at the last meeting, we had those on the member agenda. We can look back at what they were, but there is no approval existing, just conceptual review.
No, I understand that, but there were no comments on the tower element.
Is it possible to see the preliminary review of the entire building, Shannon, that we looked at whatever it was, a year ago or whenever it was?
Oh, no, it was more than that.
Teresa has the plans from the meeting a couple months ago. So.
I wasn't looking for the ones, Teresa, from when we looked at this a couple months ago. I was actually looking for whenever we looked at the whole project as a conceptual review for the grocery outlet. Do you guys have that on?
Like 2017.
I don't think it was that far back, was it?
Yeah, it got a,
It was before I was on the board.
yeah, it was before 2020 for sure. So I think this project got final approval from the planning commission in 2018. So it was prior to that.
We've looked at parts of it since then, but
Yeah.
not,
Yeah, we have.
not the initial concept.
We've only looked at the four different proposals on each of the 4 lots since then.
Yeah, I remember.
It has.
The Verizon building came through and then the gas station and the Starbucks.
I know, I remember.
Yeah, those were all well before this.
Okay. So, I mean, back to my question. With regards to whatever approvals they have, whether that be planning commission or just conceptual review on our end, as this has moved forward and the buildings have been placed on there, how much can we change with regards to massing on a set of plans that have... Taylor, have you gone through the building permit process? No.
Yeah, so this building is awaiting a building permit and it's only just pending approval of the Board of Architecture.
So you've already gone through the plan check process?
Correct.
They may have submitted at risk before they got the zoning clearance for the structure. Yeah.
That's good because my battery, this thing was shut off and the battery. Okay.
Okay.
So, I downloaded the agenda and all the.
So I guess I'm looking for direction as far as how much can we change?
I would say that the actual development area
No.
can't be changed, but as far as like an architectural element, I don't see why you can't make comments on the design that hasn't been approved by your board yet.
Okay, thank you. While we kind of think about the comments that have been made here, I'm going to open this up to the general public to see if they have any comments on this project.
We do not have anyone online and no one in the audience, so no public comment.
Okay.
Well, Mike, I'm just wondering if this drawing, the portion that's been added to the photographic part of the grocery outlets is actually an appropriate scale. Because when I look at the doors into the grocery outlet store there,
I forwarded.
and I see the storefront on the
Okay.
proposed addition, and I'm assuming that it would be relatively similar in size, and the scale looks like it's considerably different. Just say the storefront itself.
It stands out like so.
So I guess my point is that maybe the scale of this looks more enormous than it actually is intended to be because it wasn't rendered particularly accurately in terms of proportions to the existing photographic building there. I mean, I have no way of knowing, but I mean, that's my gut feeling when I look at the.
So they didn't submit elevations, did they? Actual drawn elevations.
Well, that would be helpful.
Yeah, let's look at those rather than the rendering.
Yeah.
So to be clear in my mind, the white that we're seeing is actually a galvanized material.
No, I'm sorry, it's vertical white metal siding.
Okay.
So, Rachel, can I ask you to please mute yourself?
Yeah, do we have the Mojo? There you go.
And keep going.
Yeah, we saw the front. It doesn't have the grocery outlet building on it. For comparison.
No, but the elevation is there.
Yeah, you actually, yeah, I think
Past.
you went past it, yeah. There, stop.
Right there. Okay, down on the bottom, can you blow that up?
Mhm.
Oops.
There we go.
It's difficult to tell from that picture what
Yeah.
the mass is when you put it back into a rendering.
Yeah, the elevation is also a little different than the rendering, isn't it?
Yes.
Like where the materials are, particularly on the column.
Well, I think that's the drawing package we're looking at, Taylor, was that submitted with this new package or was that a previous iteration?
I think that's the building set. I think we submit elevations with a previous package, but with the comments just being that we do renderings next to adjacent to the existing building. We went with that. We should have included both in this presentation and we just didn't, and that was our mistake.
Okay, so, and the white element on the towers, that's where the sign's gonna be.
Correct.
And also above the storefront in the middle of the building.
Correct.
One comment to the board, I think part of the problem is we're looking at the rendering from a slight angle instead of a straight on view, so it's giving it a different perspective, a more elongated perspective, which might be adding to the trouble of the mass itself. It could be, you know, hurting what we see from that particular angle that we wouldn't see in real life.
Definitely, because when you see that storefront there under the tower. And you kind of visually compare it to the storefront of the grocery outlet, the proportions are way different. So I think the elevation is far more accurate. And you're probably right, the perspective is altering it.
I would have one other comment, and it's kind of contradictory to what came out of the board last time, but in my opinion, the white, it adds to the mass of the end of the unit, and just regular, more galvanized corrugated metal might dull that white out just a little bit and actually make that unit appear just a little less massive.
Yeah.
I don't know what the rest of the board thinks, but
Yeah, just to restudy the color, because it's really making it. And on your rendering, I mean, on your elevation, the blocked out area where the signage goes is just an area representation, right? It isn't.
Correct. Just a surface area box.
Okay, and you need to match both of them. You need to match what you're submitting in an elevation and what you're showing us on the renderings. They need to be the same. You don't want in the field, you don't want something that's wrong. In terms of materials and stuff.
Any other comments from the board? I mean, based on what we're talking about, and they're agendized for both preliminary and final review. While we may be able to grant preliminary, I'm uncomfortable with granting final.
Yeah, I'm okay with it because I believe that the elevation is drawn accurately. And I think proportional to the existing grocery outlet building is more in scale. And I think that the respective elevation here, or the colored elevation, is not as accurately portrayed as what it actually will look like. And the mass even in these two side by sides, you can see the massing is entirely different. I'm okay if you want to study the material color of the white. But I'm okay with going to final as well.
Do we want to give them, I don't really want to give them direction as to what color.
Right.
But I want them to look at it and, make an architectural decision to kind of make it recede a little bit. And you need to match your building elevations and construction stuff with what you're intending to do, what you're showing us too. They need to match.
Okay, so from what I'm hearing, because we've revisited the construction drawings, we're good with the massing.
I'm okay with it.
Okay, and we're just questioning color. Okay. And consistency, okay. So with that said, I'm going to ask for a motion to grant preliminary approval and final on consent.
I'll second.
We can do it that way. We're gonna need to want to look at it anyway, but yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, because we'll want to look at it for the okay.
So someone needs to make the motion.
So
I thought that was the motion.
It's a request.
my request for a motion, I can't make it. Second,
Sure.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, Taylor, so what this means to you is that, we're not going to dictate what kind of what colors you put on the building. We are merely asking that you look at those and then come back for final approval on consent, meaning that you can send in the drawings, you can represent your clients should you choose, but we would make our final decision at the next meeting.
May I add something to that?
You can.
Yeah. So, and can I just ask a clarifying question?
Yes.
It sounds like the color at issue is really just on the tower element, right?
Yes.
Okay. Heard.
And I would like to add to that the actual signage should be revisited for scale.
Well, with regards to that, I mean, that's a whole separate
Yeah.
issue, and that may not be,
I mean, we do review signage.
yes, we do, for sure. But with regards to the actual signage,
Yeah. I'm just looking at the totality of it here, and 2 to 3/4 of the end, the tower being signage is going to make it look like it's falling off to the left. It's going to be very, very heavy looking. I'd like to see what it looks like.
okay,
Shannon, does this have to come back for signage?
I believe so. The ordinance changed, so I'm not 100% sure, but I think so. And they could show a signage area, like
they have on the
Yeah.
elevations.
right.
Yeah.
So what I'm hearing is it's probably helpful to just have a sample sign up there.
Yes.
Great. We can do that.
Yeah, you've already they're a tenant in another building on site, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So we won't do anything formal with their signage, but we'll put something up there that looks right in size and scale.
Perfect.
Fair enough.
And one other thing, if you restudy in that white area and you come up with an idea about a different material that you love, nobody's opposed to that either.
Okay.
Totally. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Taylor. Okay, moving on to item number 2, 24-00029 Verizon at 2800 Telephone Road. If the applicant is available, please go ahead and introduce yourself for the record and begin your presentation.
Hello, Armando is actually on the call but unable to speak at this time. So my name is Justin. I'm representing from behalf of Sequoia Deployment on behalf of Verizon Wireless. We are proposing a 50-foot high Fox water tower within a 900 square foot equipment area. We have been to the board before, and at last meeting they requested that we add an odd number of pine trees into the site. So we have added 3 Italian stone pines, which can be seen on the elevations and site plan.
Yeah, the landscape plans.
Landscape plan is going to be L1, sheet L1, where it shows the 3 additional pines included.
Yes. Okay, as he's addressed the request for additional landscaping, is there anything else that you guys would like to comment on? Okay.
I only have one question to Kevin. Why were pines requested? Since we seem to have a problem with pines and beetles and blight and all that.
I'm trying to remember this in that specific request. Was I even in attendance or?
I don't remember, but I don't remember that it's being requested either. So I remember the project. I just didn't remember the comment.
There was, I watched the last agenda, and there was a comment made to make sure that the trees that we are using do not have or do not attract pine beetles. So we picked a pine that does not, and therefore should be acceptable.
Was there a reason you chose the stone pine versus the Canary Island pine?
That I'm not sure of. We would have to ask the arborist why they chose that one.
Okay, the stone pine has much more of a dome-shaped canopy, and the Canary Island pine would be more reflective of what you have for a cell tower. It'd be similar, and it does, in this area, it does not seem to be susceptible to pine bark beetle.
How much taller is it?
It would get substantially taller. It'd be more, it's a more of a vertical shape and more reflective
So
of the actual.
In order for the, sorry about that. In order for the cells or the tower to work properly, we can't go too tall to block the antenna array. Otherwise, it'll disrupt the signal. So I'm guessing that's why Verizon has proposed the Italian pine. So since it doesn't get as tall.
What's the height restriction? Do you know?
The height of the current tower is 50 foot.
It's 40 feet to the bottom of that tower.
And it'll be 40, yeah, it's like 48 feet to the top of the antennas, 45 feet to the rad center, the medium area. And so the placement also as well of where on L1 is strategically placed so it doesn't disrupt the antenna array as well.
What's the lifespan of the cell tower? Do you know? Do you have any clue?
We don't have an idea. I mean, but we've had ones that have lasted since, you know, the 80s. So I'm guessing 40, 50 years.
All right. That's about when it would be getting into that height limit. Or sooner, so probably 20, 25 years for the trees. Be obsolete by then.
Any more comment on the species? Okay. Looking through our board's comments, I think that concludes everything. They are agendized for preliminary approval only. What steps do they need to take? I mean, it's gone through the Board of Supervisors, right?
Or it has yet to go to hearing, so it will go to hearing after this.
Okay.
I think, is Aaliyah the planner? Is she online?
Yes, I'm on. Has not been approved yet. It's under the discretion of the zoning administrator, but can be waived, and we have requested a waived hearing. And so if it is waived, if we don't get a request from interested parties to hold a hearing, it would be approved at the director level, and we expect that to happen by April 20th or before. But our review of the project is it is otherwise consistent with all applicable code and policies.
Okay. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak to this item?
We do not have anyone online or in the audience, so no public comment.
Okay. With that said, as you are agendized for preliminary approval,
I have a quick question for Kevin.
Sure.
Aren't Stolen Island pines the problematic tree in the city of Lompoc there along the old library?
They are, but those are really old trees. They're getting overextended and they just haven't been pruned back. And they will get 40 to 50 feet tall eventually, but the ones you're talking about in Lompoc are coming up on 90 years, I think, something like that.
Okay.
There are other pine trees that you might want to consider. I'm not going to tell you which one to use, but I can suggest the digger pine, which is a native pine tree, which is a tall and columnar shape. And so I'll go along with the preliminary approval, but I would like you to come back with some other alternatives and tell me why you can't use them, or why you ended up with the stone pine.
Perfect.
Can you spell that for me? Digger?
Digger, D-I-G-G-E-R. That's its common name. It's found in the foothills around here. Very drought tolerant, but it is a tall and columnar shaped.
And not susceptible to the beetles?
No.
Great.
Okay. Thank you. Then getting back, I'll ask for a motion to grant preliminary approval on this project.
So move.
Second.
Yes, I did.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, you've been granted preliminary approval. You can come back for final with the suggestions with regards to the species.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, moving on now to item number 3, BR 2500112, Benza signage, Famcon pipe. If the applicant is available, please introduce yourself for the record and begin your presentation.
I'm Greg Roth, the project architect, and this is Joe Solario, the project designer. And we're here today to for preliminary approval of a site sign and some building signage for Famcon Pipe and Supply. And just as a little history, we have approval for the Famcon building. We're in building plan check right now, just got done. And we've had planning commission approval for that. So this is just for the site sign, which is going to be a monument sign near the entry and then some building signage. We had some comments from last time. And Joseph is going to talk about, how we covered those comments.
Yeah, so the last time we were here, we were given 3 comments. The first one was about color and the warmth of the signage. And we did talk with the client about this, trying to see if he would be willing to add any like dashes of color or anything. I believe the last time we were here, like there was like dusty mustard or something like that was like brought up here. But after discussing with the client, he was pretty much content with the color scheme that we were already providing. He wanted the signage to pretty much follow the same language as the building. And as for the letter and the logo, like we're remaining with white because he believed that it contrasted enough with the metal siding, which is the same color as that rendered. The second comment that we got was about creating a block face around the perimeter of the signage for protection. And the client agreed to adding what we're calling a mowing strip, essentially, which would protect from any weeds or any damage that could possibly be caused from like a weed whacker or anything like that around the perimeter of the sign. And we do show that in a sign section that is somewhere there.
Do you want to go to the next page? Yeah, can we go to the next? Keep going. We have some elevations of the signs. There we go.
Yeah, so the top is the elevation on the north face of the building, and then those bottom ones are the monument sign. And I believe those are, if you go further down, those are color schemes, and then one more. That's a section that we started to take just to study how this would be built together. And if you look down at the ground, you can see that the mowing strip was added so that it adds about 5.5 inches of protection. And then the last comment that we got was about lighting. The client wanted to stick with having lights underneath the roof canopy, what you call it. It'll be a 2-foot long LED light fixture that'll be attached to the roof structure with an L bracket, and it'll be covered from site with a fascia. And I believe that was all of the comments that we received.
Okay. Yeah, so we'll open it up for questions. You guys have questions?
Thank you. Anyone?
If I recall right, Greg, was the sign is actually the company logo, is that?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
thanks.
Okay, perfect. I'll open up this item to the public for comment.
Okay. So we do not have anyone online or anyone in the audience, so no public comment.
Okay.
One quick question. Why didn't we have this coming back for preliminary and final?
I'm not sure.
I don't remember why. I thought we made that comment that
Yeah.
study the colors and look at a couple of small details and then come back for preliminary and final. Didn't we?
No,
No.
I don't remember myself. I thought it was preliminary final until I got the agenda.
I could.
Yeah.
I thought that's a comment that I made. It looks like, after the little study.
I have to ask a question because I wasn't paying attention. Where's the street sign? You only have one of them, right? There's only one entrance to this. Everybody comes in the
Yes.
same entrance. Okay. I couldn't remember if there was two.
If we could go to the site plan, which is a second or third sheet,
Further down.
further down, okay. There's,
One more.
there you go.
There we go.
That's right there at the top right corner.
Yeah.
Here? Over here?
Yeah, and then on the enlarged site plan on the side, it shows everything.
And that's the only one you have.
Right.
Yeah,
And how wide is it? It's not, I saw it a second ago and I wish I had my own controls.
What do you want to do?
Just look at the elevation of the street sign just for a second.
So this one?
Yeah. That's fine.
I think what he wants to know is the center dimension, the center picture, the top dimension up there is what he was asking about.
It's a little over 7.
It's 7 feet, but their actual sign's only 5 feet wide.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It might be important to note that this company is more of a wholesale company, not a retail company. Nobody's out just kind of driving around looking to see if they can find it. They know where they're going, basically. It's just more of a formality than.
Well, yeah. We don't want them to end up at the end of the driveway at the school looking for pipe. But yeah, it is a wholesale and mostly they do delivery.
Yeah.
So there's occasion for a contractor maybe to go up there, but generally they just, it's an office with a warehouse and storage, outside storage.
Okay. Any final comments?
It's fine.
Okay. As you guys are agendized for preliminary only, I'll ask for a motion to grant preliminary approval. Second.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Then we can come back for final on consent.
Okay. Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you for sticking with us, by the way. And I think the building's going to be very nice.
Thank you.
You. Okay. What's that?
So
First and second.
I was second.
and Reese,
Is Kevin out for this one too?
he's coming in.
Okay,
No, I'm going out.
you're going out though. All right.
But Karen was out for 1, 3, and 5.
Yeah, I just want to make sure.
Like a
Okay.
revolving door.
Did you need to use the laptop?
All right, with that said, we'll move on to item number 4, BR number 25000129, the Freitas Trust Plant Nursery. Go ahead and introduce yourself for the record and begin your presentation.
Good morning. My name is Angela Janes. I'm with Jones Land Use Planning in Los Olivos. We're here today for the conceptual review of this project. It's in the CMLA zone within the Bell Street Design Core Control Overlay area. And we have structures that come under your review. I'm here representing the owner, Brent Freitas, right here. The parcel is located at 255 Bell Street between St. Joseph and Den Street and is 0.42 acres in size, generally flat topography, and there are no planted trees. The proposed use of the parcel is plant nursery, which you know is defined as a retail or commercial business where plants are grown in the ground or in containers for sale or propagation. The parcel in Los Alamos had been vacant for decades before Mr. Freitas purchased it in January of 2024. His primary operation is the Eye of the Day Garden Design Center, which is in Camarillo, and he's been in business there for over 30 years. Many of you may be familiar with this, being in landscape architecture and architecture. They've got beautiful plants, fountains, statuary benches, and other garden gift items there that they source from all over Europe. What Mr. Freitas is creating at 255 Bell Street is a proposed plant nursery with a natural garden area, a very nice, cool, welcoming destination for visitors to the Los Alamos area, but also a unique commercial operation because it's conducted entirely in the natural setting. So to begin, when you look at the site, please note there are no frontage improvements proposed on Bell Street. Customers are able to enter via a pedestrian access gate That's at the southeast corner of the property facing Bell. There's a gated driveway entrance off of Leslie Street, which is at the north end of the property. And this is where the owner receives deliveries in the loading area, and customers can come there to pick up larger purchases. There are no habitable structures proposed for this project. The package that you received originally contained an office shed, but this, or rather on the description in the item for review today, contained an office shed. That's been eliminated from the project. It was too complicated and getting too expensive to propose as an amenity. So just know there are no habitable structures. The structures on the property are 4 proposed metal storage containers and 1 small metal shed. You can see them outlined there, 4 larger containers, and then the little metal shed is about halfway down on the eastern border. Right, Teresa, thank you. Each of the containers is a standard shipping container. It's 40 feet long by 8 foot wide, around 320 square feet. And they vary in height from 8 feet 6 inches to 10 feet 6 inches. The tool shed is 10 by 8 and 7 feet in height. So the total square footage proposed for the site is 1,360 square feet of storage. All the containers, as you can see, are located in the rear employee section of the parcel, which is about a little, less than halfway back, and is accessible from the Leslie Street side. They're all in natural, muted colors. They don't have any embellishment on them, and they're largely screened by the plants and trees that are in display on the garden side, which faces Bell. The owner found that the storage containers are necessary due to repeated instances of theft. He had no need for commercial structures, but found that he needed the containers to prevent the loss of high-value inventory and supplies. There's no electricity or plumbing service to any of the structures. And this northern portion of the parcel facing Leslie is reserved for the owner and his employees to just coordinate the business operations. The majority of the parcel is reserved for the plant nursery operation that's facing Bell Street. Customers are able to wander through the gardens there to review the flowers, trees, pottery, planters, and other garden amenities that are available for purchase. The owner sources his inventory from around the world and really brings some high quality offerings and antique stone pieces. The garden area is shielded from the activity of Bell Street by a rustic wood fence that you can see here. It really makes you feel like once you walk inside, it's a very sort of private sanctuary type of garden area. All the sales are conducted wirelessly via a remote handheld point of sale device by the owner, paperless receipts, so it's really, eco-friendly and sustainable. All the operations of the nursery take place during normal business hours during the day. There are no light fixtures required for the operations, so none are proposed for this project, and there is no signage proposed. As for waste, all the organic waste is kept separated from regular waste, and both are removed from the site by the owner in his own waste and recycle vehicle, which he takes regularly to the San Ynez station on Fox and Canyon. So there's no third-party waste management service that's required. And Teresa, if you can flip back to the first sheet. That's, by the way, obviously an elevation, that second sheet, the elevation of the storage containers from each direction, they're all standard. And then on the first sheet, you'll see there's a little loading area in the northwest corner, and then his trash receptacle vehicle is up there in the northwest corner. And I think that's about it. And I look forward to your questions.
Okay, you've indicated this as a commercial project, correct?
Commercial plant, retail plant nursery, yes.
What provisions are you making for ADA compliance?
Nothing proposed yet. The entrance off of Bell is the pedestrian entrance. It has not been looked at for ADA improvements yet.
So accessibility is going to be an issue for you.
So we will look at that.
Okay.
So let me just understand, and obviously love the idea of the project. I live in Los Alamos. Looking at the access, is that between the little shed at Bodega, the entrance being not through the front of the lot, but through the adjacent lot?
No, that's employee only there, the middle section there. The pedestrian entrance is at the southeast corner of our parcel, just down in the corner facing Bell. So there's a gate entry there.
That darker section.
Right.
That's
Oh.
that's what I was indicating. So they will walk in this.
I
No.
turn this on.
From Bell. I mean, this is Bell Street. So they
Oh.
walk in here, right?
There.
Oh, I see. Oh.
Yes, separate from the other parcel. And just as a note, the 2/3 of the parcel to the east is also owned by this owner. So the bodega, and it goes roughly 2/3 of the way back. That residential structure that's in the back is not his.
Yeah. So I guess my question is, if there is going to be a pedestrian entrance on Bell Street, why no signage?
He's not interested in signage. There'll be an address there, but, you know, the bodega property is run primarily as a, you know, restaurant customer service facing. This operation is somewhat in support of that, just to provide a beautiful area next door. He is keeping inventory here and plant inventory. He has clients up in Northern California, so this is closer, and just excess inventory that he has from the Eye of the Day Center down south. So he isn't really looking to create a large, splashy, visible.
That's not really what I was suggesting.
Okay.
Again, I'll just refer, because I live in town, and some of the comments that I've heard are, what's going on back there? It looks so mysterious, which translates to me that it's not particularly welcoming,
Okay.
which would suggest that even some minor invitation to enter, some sense of welcome, would be helpful. I mean, it would look, instead of like what would in theory be the back end of a property, to have some relevance to the street. Bell Street is growing and changing, and the building next door, Bodega, is very inviting. This so far is not,
Okay.
and that would be one of my suggestions.
Okay.
Another question is, what is the provision for parking in the rear for work vehicles? Is there any?
No parking for work vehicles. There's loading, unloading, but no employee parking.
So there will not be trucks parked there overnight on
No.
on the public street back there? Because parking is an issue.
Like a loading truck or an owner's?
Well, I mean, if we're not having parking on site for trucks or workers' automobiles, they're going to have to park somewhere.
During the business hour?
Yes.
Right. So
And
right now,
in
there's,
some instances, storage. It would be kind of a question. I mean, there is a little construction project going on across the street in the back there. Those 2 new houses that are being built back there. And Leslie is changing a bit. There's also a lot of parking that is needed for Bodega. And it would seem like kind of logical to have some parking back there.
okay. Right now, the employees park during the business hour days. They're not storing vehicles or keeping vehicles with inventory or supplies or anything on the street. They're, you know, the amount of people besides Brent to run the operation is not a lot of people. So things are brought, delivered, dropped off, and
Right.
they go away.
Right. Okay. Just to notice that parking is a growing problem
Yes.
in Los Alamos, because most of the projects that we're seeing have not had parking required, which means now that a lot of the businesses, if not all of the businesses, are parking on either Waite or on Leslie, which starts getting congested. And if it's not planned for in advance, when the opportunity is there, all I'm just saying is a couple of parking places off street wouldn't be a bad idea.
Okay. Understood. Thank you. Yes.
Oh, the other question I had was, are the containers going to be painted? Or are they just going to be strict metal?
Do you want to? Okay. You can come up.
I'm Brent Freitas.
Hey, Brent.
Go ahead to the mic.
Okay. A couple of clarifications. One's on the back street, there is parking between the street and our fence. We have a longtime neighbor across the street that has some archaic equipment that they will not move, but there's room there for parking, whether it be whatever, but we don't leave our product, our trucks on the street. We can pull them in. That's one. The other thing about the signage, which you may not feel is quirky, for 28 years in Carpinteria on the US 101, got asked all the time why we don't have a sign. I felt maybe a counterintuitive way of going about it is that when people would go down the 101 and see the beautiful Italian pots or whatever that we had there, that if they were curious, they would stop in. I wasn't trying to attract business, but I wasn't trying to make it go away. I feel it worked pretty successfully. The same thing going here. We do have a lot of welcoming signs there. We have, if you live there, you've seen, I put out some beautiful pottery that has agaves, citrus that are right now blooming, smell beautiful. And in the one picture that was there, there's some massive stone wheels like that with the plant on top, but out in front, there you go, that we put out there. The large box there is a authentic French Versailles planter. Pardon me.
Do you want to do the thing?
Do,
hold it down.
do the thing.
No, top one.
Top.
Oh,
Okay,
did-
I'll let you start it again.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, hold the top one.
I let my grandson do this kind of
There
thing.
you go. Okay. there you go.
This box, I bought it when I was bringing those from France. I don't carry them anymore because the French fight too much. And we at some point we'll put a large tree in it. But the other things along the road are very inviting. My philosophy is if they're interested, they'll stop. I don't want to be PetMart or Kmart or Walmart. This is a bit of a retirement. I don't know if you know that. And I'm there when we're open. Right now, our times are Thursday through Sunday. And, pardon me, I'm there to kind of have some fun finally, rather than just delivering and warehousing. This is something, oh, I did it again, I'm sorry. This is something that was acquired. It's old Italian gazebo, and I just thought it would be a great addition. When you walk in, we put things around it. I think this is too early. This product here is a Italian pot with a local plant. I think my overall long-term concept here is to take things that I have, things that we may be closing out, and things that might have been damaged that we can't sell directly to a landscape architect or a hotel or a home, and plant them with my vision. There are landscape designers and architects don't necessarily agree with what I do, but it's kind of my art, and we hope that people will enjoy it. We think we're bringing something to the community, and we have a lot of positive reinforcement as opposed to what might be negative, but I guess that's subjective.
Not necessarily negative, just curious.
Curious.
And I'm not by any means complaining about the presentation, the look. I love what you do.
Great.
And whizzing by on the 101 past Eye of the Day in Carpinteria is a little different than walking by on Bell Street. We don't have that same kind of traffic, and people that I see who are staying at hotels, they do a lot of walking.
Mm-hmm.
And if they don't see at eye level something that just says, come in, that's all I'm saying. Just some tiny invitation, not a big sign that says gigantic Eye of the Day, but just something that says you're welcome to come in.
Well, hopefully, when we get through the process, and another comment in terms of those containers like to come to, that gate will be wide open. The things out in front will be more inviting, probably more product out there to make it a little lusher. And they'll be able to come in. We got a nice big bamboo behind that Versailles planter. And if you want a sign, I'll give you a sign. A big arrow says, please come in.
I want a sign for you.
Yes. Well, it's,
As much as for the
yes, I'm
community.
hoping the things we're doing out on the street will be that attraction. I certainly don't want dozens and dozens and dozens of people walking through at one time, because I only have going to have one employee, and want to make it a little more peaceful rather than, you know, the Pokemon sale that they were having at Best Buy the other day, that line down the street. I think I want it to be more casual. So I hear what you say. I do what we can because we do want to be in business. And the primary objective here is to take great plants, specimen plants, and pot them up for sale as is. Some designers have come in and say, well, I'd like to buy those, but I don't want the plants. So we take them out and we repot them. I spent a lot of time at Native Sons bringing in smaller things for smaller products so that people walking down the street can actually take some home. Nobody's going to take one of those millstone home. I'm going to have to deliver that. So that's that. The last thing I'd like to comment on are the containers. We did have a pretty dramatic theft about 3 weeks ago. We have a police report. Somebody stole some antique copper, old candy cauldrons, about 200 years old, that we had planted with young olives. And the clever people came in the middle of the night, turned them over, emptied them out, and took them up to here and recycled them before the police could make a call and stop. It was about $15,000 from a consignment. Anyway, the whole plan with the containers is that we can lock up certain items that we definitely don't want taken away or that we have too much to merchandise. The containers and the color are somewhat irrelevant because we already have vining roses. This new one, Don Juan, big red rose, and we will do an espalier on the face of each of these containers. And rather than be painted, they're going to have a living plant on it. And yes, from time to time, something will come away from it where the plants maybe weren't as vigorous because of the lack of, and they'll grow in or we'll replace it. But the whole idea is to make it an environment that is natural to the area, and it's green and it's eco, and we don't have any, no plastic.
Again, you get no argument from me. I've been just questioning whether they were going to be painted, because some people who have used these that I've seen in other areas have brought them that had existing signage on them that they just sort of left in place. They were not in particularly good condition, so that they looked, they didn't look cared for. I'm just, that's the only question.
And I haven't been able to do that yet because we don't have, we may have to adjust them, move them for setback or whatever. So I'm just trying not to create a lot of work and expense. But when we know where they're going to be, you're going to see, we're even talking with a company that does living walls. They would like to promote themselves, who said they'd like to take the side of one. And as you know, the exposure in this area and the heat is a challenge.
Very much so.
Anything else?
Are you going to be open only for people that are shopping for your materials, or like if somebody buys at the barbecue on Saturday, are they allowed to come in and sit and linger? Or
as long as they don't leave the rib bones behind, they can come over and sit there. There are people that have wandered over with wine and beer, and I find it's mostly families coming with children who plenty of people want to look, but a lot of them are, the children are just blown away. Like it's, I don't want to say Disneyland, but it's in a nice environment. So yes, we want to invite everybody to come in. I just don't want you to think what I'm trying to do there is create this rich retail environment where, you know, we're going to be all about and nothing else, just selling, you know, plastic pottery. We're not.
But it's a place they'll just meander through. You're not going to have tables or benches or things
Not
like
at this
that.
point, no.
Okay.
We had,
Gathering spaces proposed.
somebody said they wanted to get married under the gazebo. I said, have at it. But the other thing that hit me was, I don't know, but it is I've got a plant nursery in San Diego that grows fabulous palms. We did a project together in Northern California, and they said, hey, why don't you have some of our palms up there? I said, that'd be great. You know, show people to come in, and man, we'd like that look. And then we have a lot of our seconds from our warehouse. Things get damaged, especially with pottery, where we've been able to successfully repair them. And we can make a discount there, because I am, you know, not everybody who lives in Los Alamos has the budget to afford one of those Italian Florentine pots. But we have some very good values, and we've helped the restaurants and the coffee lady on the corner. That long artisanal metal trough is not a gift, but I put it there. The Airbnb at the back of the property, we put out things planted. We did this in Carpinteria for 28 years. All of our neighbors around us had things from us planned and looking good, because, as we like to say, we were at the wrong end of Carpinteria. And now I think we might be at the right end of Los Alamos.
Hoping so.
Yeah, and flatbreads, there's that metal heart sculpture. We've given them, it's right up front. And of course, if it gets sold, it gets removed and we'll put something else back there.
Good neighbor.
Okay. And I'm not even a Goodyear. Pardon me?
I have a comment
pardon
from
me.
staff. Why is this here?
What's the question? I didn't hear it.
They're asking why we're here, and I believe it's the storage containers.
Yeah, so Emily's the staff person assigned, so she would have a better idea, but it is in the CMLA design overlay, and it's probably, if there's any structural development, it probably is required to come, is my guess.
Okay. Your gate is 8 feet tall?
No, I think we're closer to 6.
It's closer to 6? And then it's the same height as the fence that goes around?
It's exactly.
Yes, yeah.
There's no like gate post, so it's within the.
Well, I thought one of your images had a taller gate. And the containers are 8 footers?
8 and a half. There's the high cube, but the smaller ones are low.
Our fence is up at the doors are a little higher than the rest of the fence. Yeah.
Oh, that's not my door.
Oh, is that
My,
Daisy's door?
let me do this. This is okay. Between the millstone and the Versailles planter, the gate is right there. These are in front of the next property that are basically for a propane tank. I think there's some water valves there. And then where you have, where you have these posts, we have some pots on there. It says Bodega House. That gate there goes to the Airbnb.
Okay.
But that's
the
next
other
door.
parcel.
So with the fencing, the trees and whatever you have in the back, those containers are pretty much invisible from Bell, you would think? They're far enough back on the site or?
To a degree, it's invisible because, you know, when you're walking or you're driving, unless you're in a semi, it's a little bit of an oblique there. And so they're far enough back. And the front parallel to the street container is, I already have roses planted there, but they're in pots. Usually I cut the bottom out so they root and then they can run, but I haven't done that yet because I don't have to move. Yes. Okay,
Right,
here.
that front left one is a green tone. I
Yeah.
just drove by it this morning because I thought that would be a question that you would ask. So you
Right, but
can
the view
somewhat see
angle
it.
from a passenger car or
Mhm.
walking on the
You're not gonna
street,
see
you're
it,
not,
see it.
your angle's going so high toward that far
Right.
back.
Right, you have to be staring out your side window to see
Okay.
a glimpse of it, right?
And I don't know if this is even relevant, but at the front, I'm sorry, I don't have your name.
Michael Nicola.
Mr. Nicola, you've seen the Winged Victory there,
Yes.
which I'm very proud of. It's a limestone from France, carved replica of the Nike that's in the Louvre that is consigned to me from one of the original estates in Montecito by Mr. Peabody. And it was brought in 1916 to Montecito from his estate in Connecticut. Anyway, when you talk about things to attract people, I get goosebumps. It's pretty cool. I hope I never sell it. Well, I'm not the consignor, probably doesn't feel that way, but I do.
Probably not. Yeah.
Okay.
My only comment would be to study the accessibility issues and the parking issues, because in California, we have extensive requirements in the code
Well,
for.
there enough. There
And
was
so if this is going to be retail or commercial of any way, I think that those would be applicable, and probably work with your county planner about the parking requirement. I don't.
Yes,
There's
we
probably
will.
a parking requirement if it's commercial, so.
And they've already told me.
Actually, no customer parking requirement because we don't have
Oh,
structures that
Lucky
are
for you guys.
commercial structures, so.
But I'm
I'll
not-
double check with.
But
your
do look
county.
at the accessibility issue.
I'm not foolish. I want people to have convenience. They've told us we can't load in street, so it has to be the back street. And on a 45 diagonal, because I'm thinking of moving the fence in, there'll be a nice 45 degree parking slots for, if we ever get the man to move his whole forklift, maybe up to 8 cars or vehicles. I mean, a long bedded truck wouldn't fit there, but we already pull ours in because we have forklift to offload. So my reputation, my dream is to make this as desirable as possible for everyone, including the community, because I have a vested interest in making Los Alamos move forward, you know.
Okay, certainly.
Okay.
As you guys are agendized for conceptual review only, these are merely suggestions with regards to, there's no decisions that are going to be made today. I think it'll be fairly straightforward when you do come back for preliminary and final
Yes.
at the same time.
Thank you.
So does the board have any last comments?
Great.
Okay,
I don't.
then that's it.
We're done
Thank you.
Well,
No, no.
today.
with this
No,
part of it.
yeah,
Today.
Done.
Done today.
Done today.
Today, yeah.
Not for.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. You gonna step out again? Yeah. Send Jim back in?
Like a revolving door.
I know. Ew. Okay, moving on to item number 5, BR number 210096, the Meyer Mixed Use Project.
And Chair, just because this one was originally with CBAR, and it just, when the boundaries changed, it kind of got caught in the middle. So I think the planner just wants to say a couple words to introduce the project as well.
This one or the last one?
This is number 5, the
Okay.
Meyer Mixed Use Project. Yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah. Yeah, if the planner wants to go ahead and have her time.
Great, thank you. This is Tina Mitchell. I'm the planner for the project, and I just wanted to run through a few notes and bits of background information. And yes, you can refer to the planner memo that's on the screen right now for more detail. But the project site is a vacant 0.46 acre parcel in the CMLA zone district located at the corner of Bell Street and Augusta Street in Los Alamos. Project includes approximately 16,000 square feet of new structural development, including a 2-story mixed-use building, 3 short-term rental units, and a standalone commercial building. As Shannon was mentioning, the project was originally under CBAR's jurisdiction, prior to the realignment of the BAR jurisdictions that was adopted in 2023. CBAR completed conceptual review and preliminary approval of the project and was generally very supportive of it. The Planning Commission approved the development plan for this project in November 2025, and now the project is before you today for BAR final approval. And the Planning Commission did approve a modification to the setback from Waite Street for this project. And there's also a BAR modification request to allow the stairs and balcony on the back side of the mixed-use building to intrude into the Build 2 setback, which is a special interior setback for the CMLA zone district. That's all I have on this one, but I am available for any questions. Thank you.
Tina?
Yeah.
Because this has gone so far with CBAR, and we are seeing it for the first time for final.
Yeah.
I don't want to step on anybody at CBAR's toes. I know they do their due diligence, and generally what they approve is good.
Generally.
With that said, are we just do we have time to review this? Or are decisions going to be made today?
Well, it is here for final approval because it already got preliminary. The CBAR did make findings. We did not have the option to send it back to them. So we have to bring it to the decision maker required by the code, and which is why it's here. But we did provide their prior comments and also this the modification that they were supportive of, and hopefully, there's concurrence.
Okay. All right. So then would it be appropriate to act as if we granted preliminary approval and then merely look at the coordination of the architectural detail with the finishes and the corners and the typical stuff that we look for in final? Is that, I guess, what I'm getting at?
Yeah, that's at your discretion, but that seems like a logical approach to me.
Okay. All right, if we can get the applicant to introduce himself for the record and kind of walk us through this project.
Good morning again. My name is Greg Gravatt. I'm the project architect for the Meyer Mixed Use Project. As you guys already know, it's got quite a distinguished history. So I thought it might help to go a little bit further and tell you a little bit about our journey. So this has gotten the conceptual and preliminary approval from the CBAR, and we were approved for final on consent. We did go from a land use permit to a development plan, so it had to go through additional steps, which is, I will say, extensive review by Public Works and planning to get through the development plan. It did get I believe, a 5-0 vote at the Planning Commission. So we've gone through that process. We have addressed all of the CBAR comments for final, which was going to be final on consent. We are pretty far along in the detailing. In fact, we're trying to submit construction drawings in the next couple of weeks. So to let you know where we're at, the grading and landscape and street and plans are construction document level. You'll see in the plans here. So I'm open. This is new for me too. So I can go through, this is a little bit more detail as if we're at preliminary, or it can go straight to the final comments. Michael, Mr. Chair, do you have a direction on that?
Well, I'd like you to go through the final comments that basically was going to grant you
final approval of CBAR.
Okay. So, again, this,
The vicinity map first, Greg?
sorry,
Show me a vicinity map first. 'cause
I knew you were going to ask that. So, we're on Bell and Augusta on the corner. We're right next to Bob's Wellbred. But the Meyer project, and I forgot, Ian Meyer's here today. So he's ready to come up and answer any questions from his perspective, if you so desire. Anyway, so yeah, we're on Bell, Augusta, and the back street. I don't know why I forgot the name of it. I always forget the name of that.
Can I
So
just
anyway, you
add-
can see the site outline.
Greg,
Yeah, I got him.
can I just make a comment for our reference?
Yeah.
We have seen the property between this project and Bob's Wellbred a couple of times before. Okay.
Yeah.
Just so we know.
Okay, so vicinity map, it's Chairman King, or is that, do you want more description on that?
On the vicinity?
Yeah.
No, I'm good.
Okay, site plan wise, if we could go to the next sheet. I'll just go over I mean, I can't imagine just going straight to comments on the final on consent comments, but if we could just go to a site plan, I think there's going to be several sheets in. This is all the civil. I like the architecture plan, if we can go to that. Yeah. The architectural site plan, I think it's A01. There we go. Okay, so you can see it's a corner site. We have two corners. And the mixed-use building is on the front facing Bell Street, Bell and Augusta. We've got 4 smaller buildings facing Waite. There are cottages, 2-story cottages on Waite Street. And then behind the cottages is a 1-story cottage C, and then again, a small commercial building, D. And do you want us to go over the elevations or just give you some background on what it looks like?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, okay, so let's go to the architectural elevations then.
Greg,
Couple more sheets.
it may also be worth mentioning, since member Nicola brought this up, but there is a sheet that shows the Shawkrian project in relation to this project too,
Okay.
right?
Yeah. Trash enclosure details. So these are some of the floor plans. We can go back to any of these that you want to. Keep going, please. That's okay. PDS. Okay, this is primarily the cottage elevation. So you can see the Waite Street is a two-story housing units that is on the bottom right-hand side. And it's one thing to note, you guys haven't seen the previous design, but we did take the porches off. There were originally covered porches on Waite Street, but the Public Works Department didn't like that because they want to someday widen Waite Street. So we gave them a 10-foot easement, took the porches off. I just want to mention that that's the only change in the entire project. Anyway, next sheet. And this is the elevations of the mixed-use building. This is the Augusta elevation. It's on the top right. We have our little faux water tower, and the building is clad in recycled redwood siding, 1x12 with battens. There's no color. It's all natural materials is the intent that we're proposing. And this is a good place to stop because we could probably go over some of the comments. Okay, let me just go over comment. Is there any more you want to see before we get into the comments? Okay. So we have the comments from the CBAR. A was support the requested encroachment of the stairway and balcony. If we could go back to the site plan, I will tell you what that was about. Yeah, just go back to that site plan. Yeah, thank you very much. So there's a build to setback in the CMLA in Los Alamos. And if you haven't encountered that, it's really interesting. It's a leftover from the form-based code that the architect that Jim knows developed. And so you have a setback from Bell Street of, I think it's 80 feet. I think it's 50 feet from Augusta, and I think it's 50 feet from, so you end up with this bizarre rectangle, says build to setback, that you can't build in, because the intent was there was going to be parking behind all the buildings along Bell Street. Nobody's developed parking behind the buildings on Bell Street. So it's really kind of but it became something that is just fixed. So anyway, the C-Bar granted us a encroachment into that bizarre little setback, and it's for our staircase into that. So we're putting the staircase into build to setback. So they approved that, and we've incorporated that into the plan. So I wanted to let you know about that. Balcony, that was the balcony and staircase encroachment. If we could go, the next comment is the Cercis occidentalis of reasonable size can be difficult to obtain. Consider crepe myrtle instead. Concerned about longevity of Arbutus marina. Sorry for butchering. I'm not a landscape guy, but anyway, if we go to landscape plan, yeah, if you could just go to a little bit further down. I think it's at the planning plan. Yeah, go back. Can you zoom in on that at all? So there you go. Yeah, I'm gonna try it. You can see the yeah, go back. Here you go. So this is it right here.
Great.
Great myrtles and fruitless olives and some magnolias. So we've eliminated the Cercis occidentalis. And so that's our response on that. The window and door colors. If we could go to the, yeah, that sheet there. So all of the windows and doors are either bronze or black. So the prominent doorways, the pinky steel doors, those come black. And then the windows are all bronze now. I think it might be note 6. I can't see that well. Is there any way you could blow that up?
And then I also handed them the material board.
Yeah. Yeah, so if you can go over to the right, I believe it's note 6 calls out the. Yeah, it doesn't have the color.
It doesn't have it.
Okay. Well, anyway, all the windows are dark bronze now. What's painted the correct way? Sorry?
Where does the bright white go on the building? I'm looking at the color board.
There won't be any.
Well,
It's on the.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. Can I cross that out with my pen?
Old color board.
Yeah. Okay, now the item D is study the arch fence and consider simplifications, e.g. eliminate the arch. So if we could go to the landscape plan, I'm sorry, we're jumping around a little bit, but there should be some details. There's an elevation of the trellis, which is actually just in the courtyard here.
There's the clicker right over here. Right over here. You want to use the
I
clicker?
didn't see it.
Right here.
Oh, thank you.
And then just press and hold this.
Okay, thank you so much. So right here, that's the trellis. Okay, so if we go down, I think to the detail sheet, there should be a trellis elevation. Maybe one down. Nope, all notes. Okay. Can I move this up and down with this?
I guess.
Okay. So just go. Okay, so I think it's going up. There it is. I go ask Kevin, but he's been exiled from the meeting. So anyway, the trellis is this one right here. Yeah. So this originally had an arch on it. So we simplified it. I think it was a good comment, so we liked it. So the owner directed us to simplify it. Okay. Now the pool area, if we could go, let me see, I'll go back to the landscape plan. I think it's this one. Okay, so this was originally going to be a little pond or plunge or something like that. We eliminated, this is now just a planter. So that was eliminated. A lighting plan is going to be on the electrical sheets, which we got. I think those are.
Right over here.
Yeah. You continue up a little bit. Oh, is that the first sheet? That's E01. Yeah. Whoa. Okay, that's site. Site lighting is been developed. We did a photometrics of the site as well. That's planning's review. This is a photometric. These are the light fixtures right here. Huh, okay. And then individual lighting plans for each building. If there are any questions on that, I can try to answer questions, but so that's it. That was the comments from the CBAR.
I have only one question out of the whole thing.
Yes.
It looks like C-Bar commented on a pool and a pool cover, and you said it was going to be like a little pond, and now it's just a planter. How big is that?
Well, it was gonna, I mean, I don't know if you want to go into the details, but it was gonna take quite an extensive review with county health, and the owners were not intending for any of that to happen, so we just made it into a planter.
How big was it?
6 by 10?
Yeah.
6 by 10, something like that.
So basically like a little reflecting pond or something,
Yeah, but there's always unintended consequences when you propose things with water in them. So it was going to take account. It was going to be additional level of review. So we just didn't do it. We didn't do it.
Oh, a plunge pool for something?
It started as a plunge pool, then it became a pond, then it became a planter. Yeah.
Water.
Yeah.
As most do.
It was just a curious question. So
Yeah.
It looks small out of the pool.
Well, that was Ian's choice. So, simplify the project, try to move it forward. So that's all we have today, unless you have some.
I have a bunch of questions.
Uh-oh.
I couldn't remember doing this, looking at it, and then I saw it 3 times. I'm glad I went to CBAR. I've got questions about the elevation on the main street. There's a lot of detail issues that I don't know, maybe they're addressed somewhere. How the lower roof ends. It ends behind a post somehow. I don't have any idea how that elegantly ends. It comes up and then it butts into a beam. I'm not sure how that works. The upper roof almost touches a window. So that's probably not the way it's going to actually get built. And the same kind of things happen on the other side, on the side where the entrance is, where the gable element is. There's an underlapping fascia, there's an overlapping fascia. They don't touch exactly. How is all that detailed? And then you've got the cupola, which doesn't show flashing at the roof probably. So is that worked out? And does the window have to change size because of that?
Yeah, so which question do you want me to start with?
Do you have details?
Yes.
Okay.
We have lots of details. I don't know if we have every one that you're asking about, but
There's a lot of things. And then also you've got a truss that sits on top of a beam, which isn't really a truss. And do those go back underneath? Are there series of trusses? Or just one?
Which element are you referring to?
The big gable entry guy at the main street.
So does this show it?
Yes.
On the top there?
on that one.
So you're talking about that's a post and beam structure. The one in the front that we're looking at is a post and beam.
I guess what's throwing me off are the angled pieces. And
Yeah,
so it's a post and beam. So there's beams that are going back on each one of the corners.
yes.
And then you've got braces that, interesting, that go on the interior ones of the posts.
Yeah,
How does all that detail out?
we're using pintle connections for everything. Simpson has a pintle connection system, if you're familiar with it. So it's all concealed pins. And I didn't bring the structural plans today because I
But do you have an idea how, there's a lower gable that comes along? And that's always an issue. How does it end? Because you're going to see it sloping up.
Yes, and it's going to be open on the side.
And then it's going to go up and it's going to hit a beam somehow. And then you got
It will.
You have to mess with.
It will, so the little porch roof is gonna go straight up and the little post and beam structure is just gonna go like that.
So it's going to be cut off to the inside
It'll
of
be
it?
open on the side. Yeah, there's just
It'll
gonna be
be
a beam
open,
going
but
across.
how
Yeah,
does it end? Is it all detailed? Does it go, there's lots of little things like that can either make it really slick or just look awkward.
it's gonna be really slick.
Slick is what we want,
Yeah,
but it has to be detailed and thought out first, and I just didn't
Yeah.
see any of that.
yeah, well, we're using those pintle things a lot right now.
And then
So
it
that's
gets
all
really
concealed
super
fast.
close to the
There's
window.
no there's no Simpson column things or anything. So it
Oh, I
does
like-
kind of look like a little,
I like no hardware. That's good, but they've just got to be in the right place to start.
yeah.
And then it gets really super close to the window. The guy with the hammer is going to end up cutting, well, right now you've got the sill overlapping the roof. You know, is that really how it's going to be?
Yeah, well, I think there's more room than, I mean, we're looking at a very small drawing, but yeah, there's enough room.
I blew it up.
Flash it, yeah.
I blew it up.
You said you had details?
And then details, and then on the side elevation, you've got a cupola up there that looks like it comes right down, the window looked like it comes right down to the roof.
Yeah,
And maybe that'll work.
yeah,
Okay. As long as it's detailed out.
yeah,
Usually,
we'll wrap the flashing up behind the trim. So we want to maximize the window area.
and you've got a detail of that too.
I don't think I have a flashy detail on that.
But just make sure that,
Today.
I don't really need to look at it, but if you need to change the size of the window, it's going to change the look of the cupola, which is on the side.
Yeah, no, I don't think we're going to change the size of the window.
If it works, it works.
Yeah, yeah. We've got a good builder. So
Yeah, on that side too has some design issues. Where does the bottom piece end? It's even kind of more awkward. So look at that too.
Okay.
Question. Am I missing something? Is there off-street parking for the cottages?
There is off-street parking. There's one space per cottage.
Is it in that area between there?
Yeah, if we could go to the site plan.
Can you show us
There you
that?
go. Thank you. Thank you for doing such a good job driving this. It's yeah, there's 4 spaces there. Got a handicap space and then there's 3 off-street spaces.
Great, thank you.
So for the comment that James made or Jim made, I had more extensive notes, but I think some detail is missing and just study connections is what you wanted to convey.
Interactive.
Okay.
Detail.
Yeah, we got, yeah.
I'm gonna pause this real quick. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on this item?
So if you're online and wish to speak on this item, please raise your hand. And then I haven't received any public slips, so no public comment.
this is kind of a little bit weird for me. As all the boards try to achieve this exact same thing. And knowing how CBAR works, you're here for final. It's unfortunate that we are only seeing it once. Well, this is our first shot at it. But with regards to the responses to the CBAR comments, and I think your relationship with this board, I am looking to move this along. Do you guys have any comment with regards to how it was presented to us and the work that CBAR has already done for this?
No, I don't have any problem with that, but we're here on the final to look at details.
Right.
I do have one further question, and it's a point of interest between this property and the Shokrian property next door, because we did work on that. And there were some questions about how they related to each other between them. And I don't know that that was ever resolved because we never saw Shokrian come back again. I think it had to do with windows and primarily windows, looking into each of the properties. I mean, you're the first one here for final, so it's, you know, obviously it's, but it is something that I think was a topic of conversation when we saw the other project. And I don't know that anything was ever, I think the suggestion was even made to talk to each other about that.
We shared our plans with them, but I don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
With that, but they have seen our plans, and that was quite a while ago. We
Oh,
gave
yeah,
our plans.
definitely.
The windows were on the back side of the property, didn't they?
There were some in between. And they're both substantial buildings, and between them is likely to be somewhat dark in there.
The planner does have the docketed materials from that hearing that Shokrian brought, which it hasn't come back for final yet, but we do have that handy if you'd like to see what they had prepared.
If you have it handy.
Okay, I have one of the elevations open right now and I can share my screen with that. I would just have to pull open the full plan set if we want to look at that. But I'll go ahead and share the elevation that shows this project and the Shokrian project next to each other on Bell Street. So that's what they look like next to each other. And then let me see if I can navigate quickly to the full plan set. Shannon, do you recall case number? I know it was like a 25 LUP for Shokrian, right?
Sorry, I don't remember. That project is expected to come back in the next few months, though.
Right. So any requirements, you know, in relation to that project, this project is coming before you first. So
What is the setback between the two properties?
Well, we have five foot on most of the buildings. Looks like they're on the property line.
Right.
yeah, there's a 0-foot setback.
Yeah,
on
so
that property.
there wouldn't be any windows, I wouldn't
On that
think.
side.
Yeah. So I don't, maybe that will change. I don't know.
And do you have windows on your side that would open up to a blank wall?
Yeah.
Those are those? Those would be the fire egress windows,
I'm sorry,
fire egress windows for those,
on the windows?
for those apartments.
Okay, I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Aren't there, you have units upstairs,
We don't
residential?
have anything on the property line side on the mixed use building.
Okay.
We do have a small office and bathrooms up there. And the bottom floor, there's a small office, but
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Oh, so all the residential's mostly
On the other-
facing inward or to the street, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
If there is a motion, it should just include the recommendation for the modification as well, that was in the planner memo.
When I get to that. Now, Greg, you said that you're working on the construction drawings.
Yes.
When do you plan to submit those?
The next 2 weeks.
Okay. With regards to getting a look at the details for the finishes and all the materials,
We do have details.
you have details now?
Yes, I don't know if we've covered everything that Jim mentioned.
Well, if we can look at some of those.
Yes, should be on the A sheets,
It's A 8.1 and 8.2.
Lighting particularly.
right on. Need a job?
It's Tina in the background. She told me
Okay.
when you guys were talking.
Yeah, she's pretty familiar with the plans by now. Yeah, so we're mostly focusing on aesthetic details.
Do you have a lighting plan?
Yes.
Okay, so what do you want me to bring up again?
I think we start with, I don't know if there's an A 8.0. That'd be the first detail sheet. Let's see if I can. Yes, A
8.0.
8, yeah.
Oh,
I think you're, yeah, 6.0. Yeah, let me see. I'm gonna try to go back one. I think it's 8.2. Not going up. Maybe I'm going the wrong way.
Over that one.
One. Okay. Okay, I'm sorry. I guess 8.0 is ADA or something. So this is wow, there's that flashing detail that Jim was asking for. Oh my God, I forgot it. We did that. Probably doesn't work though, huh? Anyway, I don't know if that's worked out to the level that you're asking for, Jim, but we did mostly overhangs. I can go through all these if you like. I think the most important ones to us are the, more character defining details. So we've got, some of the overhang brackets right here. And this is our pergola. We're calling them pergola. So it's a post and beam. There's, you can see we're calling out the pin connections. There's two different sizes. Some of them are double column, some are single column. I think there's 3 of them. And then the batten patterns, we've got a 12-inch in the front and 12-inch on the mixed use building and 8-inch on the residential. Our balcony details.
Size of the posts and beams
Oh, sorry?
on your pergola detail?
Yeah.
What are the sizes of those main elements?
I'm going from memory. I think they're 12 by 12. Yeah, they're fairly large. So we're looking at rough sawn, recycled, hopefully.
And then you're also gonna take beams back from the outside one to the
Yeah.
to the building.
Yep.
And so you're gonna 45-degree cut them or something over the top so that they're not visible? Is that what you're doing?
Yes, yes. So, and they're pinhole, again, they're pinhole connected, so we're gonna drive pins through it, and then you drive. Have you seen those? They come in a box. Really, and they got a tube with holes drilled in them, and they got an engineering value on them. And we put those down at, predetermined depth. We drill the whole column, and then we just run pins through them from the side, and then you can plug it with a
I'm old school.
wood plug.
I've rebar down through those things before.
Used to, yeah. These are all engineered, approved, so our engineer's okay with them. And then for the beam going perpendicular, we'll probably run a double pintle.
So then the side roof panel is going to slope down from the outside of the beam that goes back to the building.
Yeah.
And that's where my issue comes in, is that how do you, where does that go? Because I don't see that anywhere. It's on the outside.
Well, I mean, we got the porch roof again, and then you've got this other roof coming down like this, right? So you're saying you got two intersecting roofs? Is that what you're?
Yeah, and then
thinking
you've
about?
got a guy with a tin snip trying to figure out how to get all the roofing to go around stuff.
Yeah, I think we're okay.
Just think about it.
Yeah. So then let's see what else we got. Fun stuff. We got just a really simple overhang with our K gutter. Same thing with the eave. So we really minimize this whole project with fairly standardized details. See if I can go then.
And then what size are your angled, at each one of the posts, there's a little angled piece that goes up to the beam. Yeah, I don't exactly know what you'd call them.
I have to walk over the drawing to see it.
The web members?
No.
Can you blow it up?
Post.
He's talking about this right here, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, go down a little bit. Yeah, those two pergolas.
Well, each one of the posts around on your lower roof have two braces that come up.
You're asking what the braces are?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know offhand. I think they're probably at least a 6x,
And then
6x12 probably.
They're gonna be pinned too,
Yeah, I believe.
because I don't see
Steel
it.
plate bracket. So no, it's gonna be a steel plate bracket. And the structural is kind of, that's what they're detailing right now.
He's actually asking Greg about the little, see where it says steel plate bracket? He's asking about the little 45 kickers that are coming off of the top.
Right.
Of the post. They act like they look like they're a kicker brace, but they're probably not, because the pinning hardware is actually gonna take all of this, all of the shear.
Yeah, it's gonna be a moment resistant thing.
So this is showing a Y bracket.
Nope, down to the right. Go to the top of the post, bottom of the beam. Those little things right there.
Yeah, those are, well, it's saying steel plate bracket, but we're gonna use a pencil. Same with this. Okay.
And they're about half the size of the post and beam.
The pencil?
The little, the
Yeah, these are like 6x12s. And probably it says 6x structural truss.
It's not really a structural truss though, right?
What's holding up the roof?
It's a post and beam. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, but does hold up the roof. So,
If there's a ridge that goes through.
yeah, I just built one of these. I'll send you some pictures. Up north, we just did a small version of this.
Okay. So, with regards to timing of this project, you're working on the structural and the construction portions of it?
Yeah, can you go to the next sheet? We got another sheet of details, I think. Yeah. Oh, okay, you don't care about window details that much. But we're supposed to have them.
Well, Greg,
Sorry, I'm just trying to see if. There's the pintle, there's the top beam. There's square post. 4x12 plus on. I think that's the intersection you're talking about, Jim.
With regards to the detailing that you are currently working on, some of your responses to Jim's questions were a little vague. And with regards to the timing of the project itself, do you see an issue coming back for final approval?
I will refer to our owner here.
Hi,
Hey.
Ian Meyer. Been working with Greg for about 4.5, 5 years on this project. So direct response to your question, quite frankly, yes. Not ideal to be moved from C-Bar where we're final on consent to here. I know that's nothing to do with you, gentlemen and ladies. It's nothing to do with us either. So the level of detail that is being asked, while we really appreciate the comments, is something that is going to be worked on as we're doing our CDs. We're trying to balance a lot of different components from a development plan. We have Caltrans permits, we have PG&E permits, we have build permits. And so any kind of further hindrance to the progress of this project, which has already been in continuance for almost 3 years now, longer than it's supposed to have been, would cause fairly significant issues. That's related to financing and other things beyond your purview. So I would urge you to really consider taking this all the way through to final approval. And happy to, we're here to answer any questions and relieve any concerns, and happy to be completely transparent about that. As Mr. Nicola knows, we are local family in Los Alamos. We live there. We have no intention of doing anything untoward. We have gone through the planning commission. We got a 5-0 in our favor. And, you know, we're just really eager to get this going through. You know, we have our day jobs. Any kind of further delays, you know, we're currently at about a 30, 40, 50% cost overrun on this project, but we are committed to it. So we're just really eager to see it go through, but absolutely respect your decision on what you make on it.
I'm personally okay with moving this thing forward with final today. I think you've complied with the requirements and the comments from the C-Bar, and I think we can just move this forward.
I don't have a problem either, really, but you just never want to have the guy at the hammer figuring out what to do. That's not the way it works. And you also said that there's no white on the building yet. It's on your color board. So you need to fix it or cross it out or something.
Yeah, that's all gone. Yeah. Can we cross it out with the PDF markup?
No, I think that was accent color on one of your bars in the photo. So we've already opened this up to public comment. We've got none. Okay. As the board is comfortable with your responses to the C-Bar questions, and I understand the timing of everything, I'm going to ask for a motion to grant final approval on this project.
Wait a minute. Before we do that, we have to.
And then we have to include the stipulation about the stairway.
I'm on board with the stairway also. And in my motion, I would leave the stairway as presented.
Okay. So again, the motion before us is that we grant final approval based on the drawings presented and include the stairway in the no-build area.
And excluding white from the color board.
And finding a place for that white paint. I'll ask for
I'll second.
Okay, a second again.
I
You did it.
Yeah, I did. Oh, okay.
Okay.
That's fine.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you very much.
Thank you.
There you go. Is this the last one like that?
I believe so. There were only 2, which is kind of shocking, but yeah,
Okay.
I think it's the last one.
Right. So we'll move on to the last item on today's agenda, the Full Circle Vineyard, BR number 26000014. If the applicant is available, please approach and introduce yourself for the record and begin your presentation.
Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Brett Jones of Jones Land Use Planning, and we have I think, an exciting project before you today. I do want to introduce our project manager and general contractor, Tim Rogers, who's going to introduce the project, and then the rest of the team. Tim.
Good morning, or afternoon close to now. My name's Tim Rogers. I'm with Rogers and Pedersen Construction. We are the owner's representative as well as the general contractor for this project. I'm here on behalf of the Murphy family to introduce what we're tentatively calling right now the Inn, Wellness, and Bunker at Presqu'île. Today we have the core of our team here. We have Tom and Pam from Taylor Lombardo Architects. We have Puck, Scott, and Ellie from Arcadia Studio. We obviously saw Brett Jones just now. We also have Jonathan and Lindsay Murphy from the Murphy family here, and I believe we have other Murphy family members joining via Zoom, which would include Madison, Suzanne, and Matt Murphy. So if we can start with the G sheet file, please. Perfect. And if you can zoom in on that vicinity map a little bit, that'd be great. So this project is owned by the Murphy family. We're also the owners of Presqu'île Winery and Arc Vineyards. The site. What was that? I'm pushing the top button. Oh, let's see if I can get the laser. Sorry. Trying to get the laser pointer thing up. Okay, well, we'll just use the pointer. So this project is the parcel next to the current Presqu'île. So here's Presqu'île Winery. We have Clark Avenue running east-west here, Highway 101 here. So this is formerly, most recently, Gravino, and prior to that would be Adamo Estate. The Murphy family purchased this from Gravino back in August of 2022. Since acquiring the property, the team has really been working on, developing the vision for this project. So through this process, we've really engaged, a team of experts, Arcadia Studio, Taylor Lombardo Architects, myself. We've been working on this property for over 15 years, going back to 2008, 2009, with Presqu'île. So we have a long history there with the property as well. Beyond that, we've engaged, experts in the fields of interior design, hotel operations, branding, spa design, art curation. So the Murphy family, if you all have been to Presqu'île, they take design very seriously, and when they dive into something, they really commit to it. So before we get the real designers up here to talk, I wanted to go through and show you what's really existing on the property right now. We can go to the next sheet, please. Sorry. There we go. So as we are, here's Clark. So right now there's an existing front entry gate, which is this image here. And then as you move onto the property, this structure here is what we affectionately call the bunker. It is the partially built Tier 3 winery that Adamo originally had permitted, that Gravino started and then stopped probably 7 or 8 years ago. So that is a structure that we're looking at repurposing. So then as we move over off to the east here, we have what is currently a Tier 1 winery this is owned by the Murphy family as well. There is a tenant winemaker in there currently. This becomes part of our overall project concept here that we're presenting today. So you can see that this is that existing Tier 1 winery there. This is a view number 5 from the south looking north of the bunker. This is a view, one of the views from Clark looking onto the property. Another view from Clark looking onto the property. And here's a view of the bunker looking towards the east. Next page, please. So as you move into the property, which is heading down the main entry road here, we start to see what is existing here in a large 11,000 square foot residence. And then there's also there's a couple little ancillary structures, a fire pump house, and then there's also a ag storage barn here, a pre-engineered metal building. So as we see, this is kind of our view coming down the entry drive where you first see the house in the background. And then here's a view of the house from what would be the kind of south side looking north. And another view looking southeast as well. Next slide, please. So a little more zoomed in here. There's also an existing little asphalt parking lot here. This is the pre-engineered metal building we were talking about. So a view from, if you were on Presqu'île Drive as you come to Presqu'île, looking to the west, this is what you see here. There's an existing, we'll call it amphitheater grass area that if you all have been out there before, the previous owners would do small concerts or weddings out here, set a big tent up on this grass area. And then moving over to the other side, the west side, this is a view of the little fire pump house that's down on the hill, right here, basically. Here's another view of that fire pump house as well. And there's really just a kind of a storage pad for, well, they got a bunch of mulch still there right now. This is a view jumping back over to the east side of that kind of amphitheater grass tent area. Go to the next slide, please. Another part of this project is that there is a event parking lot. So we're further down east on Clark now, so we're directly across from Plantel. This site right here where arrow number 4 is a proposed event parking lot, which would just be a large gravel lot area. So this is views of kind of what is there existing as well. So it's currently just fallow field. It's set back quite a distance off the road, off of Clark. I think that's the last slide. Click one more. Yeah, perfect. So with that, I want to turn it over to Puck from Arcadia Studio.
Okay, wait a minute. I have to. Good morning, everyone. Just want to make sure I know how to use this thing. Oh, is that it? Okay. The L sheets, please.
Yeah, put the red dot back on.
Oh, you want the red dot? Okay. No idea. Sorry.
Teresa knows. Oh, there it
I
goes.
know. Thank you, Teresa.
There you go. And then just make sure you press and hold it, okay?
The top one.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, all right. So we'll start with the L sheets. Good morning, everyone. My name is Puck Erickson Lonis. I'm from Arcadia Studio, and I've had the incredible pleasure of working on the Presqu'île property for 15 years, and there isn't anything really more rewarding for a landscape architect than to plant 1-gallon plants and be able to actually watch them and manage them for over a decade. So we're really excited about this project. I think if it's possible, we could zoom in just a little bit And I wanted to start over here just to orient ourselves. As you're driving up Presqu'île Drive and you see the little pond on the right-hand side, that's very close to this section of the property. And there's a little ranch road right there that you walk from the pond or drive from the pond through a little thicket, and you get to what was an old ranch equipment yard for the previous owners. And that part of the property now is going to be a facilities maintenance area and employee parking. It's already really sort of tucked into this funny little pad, but it works out quite well because we sort of drop into it, and then we have all of the surrounding vegetation that will augment to the west. And then as we go to the west, there's an existing ranch road that will be improved for emergency access, where there are 3 cottages proposed that are really part of the hotel experience in a unique way, in that they are adjacent to existing vineyards in this beautiful valley. So the environment of those cottages is quite different than the inn at the top. And the property slopes up, and this is an existing oak woodland that we have augmented already with additional planting of oaks and black acacia that we are using. We're using the black acacia to sort of create little microclimates to help the oaks and other natives survive the wind as they get started. And then we move up the slope to the existing residence, which is being repurposed, and the barn is right there. And so on the western flank and the southern flank, the inn will be surrounded by a restored oak woodland, and then tucked into the oak woodland on an existing pad that we're using, and then the little pump house is over here. That will be sort of a more private wellness retreat with a little plunge pool and a place to do some yoga. And as you come and you'll wander back up the hill, we really have studied all of the circulation for the property. And each area, of course, given the proposed uses, will have handicap accessibility. The hotel is really, there we go. Where did it go? There it is. The hotel is, or inn, because it's not really that big, is the result of a lot of careful study by the entire team, which is, the architects, Taylor Lombardo, the Wallace Group doing all the civil analysis, the hospitality group. We all, and of course the interior designers, we all really have this has been a pretty intense collaborative process. And so the resulting overarching concept is that as you come up this newly aligned drive, you will arrive at what would be considered maybe the old hacienda or the owner's space on an old rancho, where there would be a collection of more exotic plants and a feeling of real oasis. I think the challenge with the existing residence was that it's sort of being, centered on the very top of this knoll. It really did not tie itself to the land in any way, shape, or form. And so the new renovations to this structure include lots of courtyards and things that we'll get into, and plantings that really allow it to integrate much more successfully to the landscape. as we drop down the drive, we have the existing parking lot that again, we're repurposing. And then the wellness area of the inn is utilizing an existing slope that was really nothing, foxtails and some old agaves that existed between the residence and the vineyard. And so this gave us an opportunity to really site buildings in a way that would be tucked into the hillside while allowing close access to the inn and the parking lot that will be used for a variety of purposes. But also, as you all know all too well, the prevailing winds with the combination of the siding, the elevations of the building, and the proposed plantings, it will really create a space where outdoor use can actually happen rather than pretend it can happen and then you go out there and get blown off the side of a hill. So then we go down the drive and through a series of gates. So that inn is really its own very separate space. And we're kind of looking at this in an almost sort of Frank Lloyd Wright or Christopher Alexander kind of way, that the inn is really about sort of enclosure and a sense of refuge and prospect. And then you open back up again to the existing vineyards and these wonderful expansive views. And then as you get towards the bunker, which is a really new look, this is going to be functionally separate from the inn. And so the entry to Clark, the first experience will be this alley of stone pines that is flanked by a sculpture garden, which utilizes the kind of grading that we'll have to do for water retention and detention. And also, when we came across this structure in its current condition, everyone actually really loved the fact that there were these piles of dirt that had been abandoned, but created a sense of enclosure for this wonderful, very raw concrete structure. So this courtyard will be surrounded by berming, and then you will roll into these beautifully graded areas for the presentation of sculptures. And then we're repurposing the Tier 1 to a receiving area for all the facilities off the main, off the drive, the sort of back drive, if you will, this becomes all sort of back of house. So if we could go to the next slide. And I'm really trying to be succinct, but this is sort of a big view. But here, this is a little bit larger, where you can see all of the buildings of the inn and all of the areas. Wow, I'm really terrible with this thing. Where is it? There it is. All of these areas that you see around the residence were already either paved or disturbed. So that was one of our main goals, was to really create a site plan that would utilize areas that were already either paved or had overwatered lawns or were just graded dirt. We really wanted to keep intact as much of the existing agrarian and native landscapes on this property as possible. So where you see this infinity pool, it will be looking into some really beautiful specimen oaks that are quite sculptural, but the actual pad that is to the south of the residence was already, it exists. And this is the existing guest house of the current residence. And then in the back, there was a large graded pad. So there are additional guest rooms out here. And then this was a interesting building, I'll just put it that way, that was just a very large public restroom building, like you might see at a bus station or something. And so we're utilizing that pad as well for guest rooms. And then this is where the old ag barn was. Where this beautiful oak tree is, all of this space was all lawn. And it was really, you really couldn't sit very well on these weird terraces. So we're restoring this to native plantings and meadow, and then just keeping a small lawn that is near the oak tree, because frankly, that old oak is so used to being in a sort of a swamp that if we took it out of that swamp, it might have a hard time. And then we're regrading this area and the lower area to accommodate some fruit orchards and olive groves that surround our one big lawn that can be used for croquet and badminton and all those kind of fun things. And then as we meander over to the wellness center, we're doing a sort of a series of alleys and linear plantings of trees to again further buffer this space and creating its own space, both from an environmental and visual aspect. And then the gathering areas for the wellness center are really focused on the eastern side, which give you those very expansive views to the San Rafaels, while the more intimate treatment rooms and things are really tucked into the hillside and these little almost casita-like structures that are going to be floating on small bits of water. And surrounding this whole area will be plantings of medicinal and culinary plants, because part of the programming is going to be allowing the guests to participate in making things with those kinds of plantings. And then we had this old parking lot out here that had a very weird access that, working with Wallace, we've completely reconfigured. And also there was not a plant in sight or a tree. So we've added, trees to that parking lot. And this slopes up. So as you're driving up, you really don't see it. And there are some existing olive trees here that we're going to augment and really, frankly, plant some better ones. And then as you come out, this is all, we go back to the idea of the native oak planting. So next slide. And then you can see how the adjacent vineyards sort of open up, because really it was important to the family that this property share the identity of the original Presqu'île property, which was to plant the best vineyards possible and make the best wine possible. And so that same identity carries over through this space, which gives you sort of a visual break between the bunker and the inn properties. And also there are going to be some beautiful gates that will be, that you'll pass through to go to the inn. So that this area is really more guest only oriented. And then we'll go to the bunker, which next page has a very interesting history. We've studied this property for a long time, since the Murphy family purchased it. This wasn't just some sort of overnight concept. There was a lot of study of the existing area, but this guy, giant concrete thing, should it just be case storage? Should it be a new winery? What should it be? And finally, sort of as a group and working with people in the art community, we began to realize that it really could be a wonderful major art space, not unlike some of the spaces like Dia and Storm King on the East Coast. They're really coming from Los Angeles, there's really nothing like it in our area on the West Coast. So it's a very inspired, bold move, but this is the existing building, adding to it, but all around here is all berming. So you really drop into this very sparse, in a way, courtyard, but it can be used, for sculptural exhibits, but also when you see the scale of the building in terms of its verticality and just massing, it needs this kind of breathing room to really allow you to feel comfortable. And then it will have 2 large reflecting pools with an alley of ancient olives that you pass through. And of course, in all of these areas, we've already worked a lot with the fire department to ensure that every area has acceptable fire truck access and emergency access. So that is our fire access on that side. And then, of course, they can access from this side as well. And then you move up into this sculpture garden with the detention ponds, and moving out through the alley, you come to Clark Avenue, where again, we go to more native meadow planting, oaks, but also because wayfinding on Clark is a little tricky, given the fact that people drive much faster than they should. We thought it would be a cool idea to incorporate some stands of Lombardy poplars that would pop up and really be kind of a vertical look for the Lombardy poplars. And also, there's a lot of ag operation on the other side, a lot of dust. And so this is also sort of really creating a very unique entry experience. And so that's our main concept for there. So we'll move on to the next slide. And this is disconnected, but this is just where the overflow parking will be. And it's about 900 feet from Clark. So it's quite a ways away from Clark Avenue. And as we said, it's right across from the Plantel parking lots. Not that that matters from a BAR perspective, but I just thought I'd orient you. So in terms of planting, we're here really for conceptual approval, of course, of the overall project. And the planting is really Presqu'île. The concept for the original Presqu'île property was vineyards integrated with native plantings. And here we're going a little bit farther and incorporating just around the inn itself, going back into sort of the horticultural history of some of the ownership of these old ranchos and estates, where at that time, people were really interested in collecting plants from all over the world. And so we want to incorporate more succulents and cycads and dracaenas. And really make it fun. I think COVID really opened up people's curiosity about plants and horticulture in general. So we want to sort of play off that because it's something we love to do. And then, of course, the whole culinary aspect is something that's going to be very important. And even though it's not part of this project, the really successful culinary garden at Presqu'île is going to be expanded and will be used as part of the inn, as well as all the wonderful things that are grown on the adjacent Murphy property to the east. So that is where we are with the landscape. And I think now fasten your seatbelts because the architects have quite a bit to share with you. Some really great elevations, and I'll introduce Tom and Pam. Not sure who's coming up, but they also, in terms of the public views off Clark, they have some really good renderings of what that might look like. And of course, we'll answer any questions you might have later. Hope that didn't take too long.
I got a quick question before we go any farther.
Sure.
Is the point of your presentation to facilitate a potential zoning change of the property? Not a zoning change?
Nope.
I'm asking because
I will let
you're-
Brett Jones answer that question.
Okay.
Yeah, there's no general plan amendment or rezone that's part of this application. It's coming in under rural recreation for guest ranch.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why it can be located in the agricultural zone.
Actually, we are asking for a
Oh, that's right.
zone change and a general plan amendment.
For the
And so this is just, the first step in that process. So we have submitted for the general plan amendment, the rezone, the development plan, the CUP.
So it is what I thought it was. then.
Yeah.
for the ag 1 to go.
Yeah,
to
because
Ag
it's
2.
currently zoned Ag 1 and we are asking for a change to Ag 2. And there's actually, we didn't really discuss this, but the two major parcels, there's two parcels that will be merged into one parcel. So at 50,
You're gonna try to eliminate the property line or?
we are eliminating the property line in between, exactly.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Tom Taylor. I'm from Taylor Lombardo Architects. As Tim had mentioned, we're the original architects for the Presqu'île property next door, and we've really basically kept that entire team and I've been involved in the property there since 2007. So as the Murphy family started acquiring more property, they wanted to keep the team together and be able to start looking at how we could start to develop these neighboring properties. I want to really give Puck a thank you there. She covered a lot of what I would have liked to say. I think that hopefully you guys have a pretty good picture of what we're trying to do here. A few things that I would like to just say is that as you start to look at the architecture here and look at the actual design of each building, you may ask, how did we get here? And so one of the things that when we first started in this project and we looked at what we're working with existing structures, we wanted to try to create a village here rather than a development. And so rather than just take what was there, which quite frankly, the existing residents, it isn't something that anyone really cared for. It was a good building, but I think of what I consider somewhat ambivalent architecture and somewhat, questionable construction, and so we considered scrapping it, starting over from scratch, but there's just too much of it there. It's 11,000 square feet of fairly solid construction. And we looked at ways to try to do a minimal project there and still make it a project that's useful for the ownership, But as we get further along, it became apparent that it needed to be a bigger project in order for it to work. And it was always the desire of everybody that's been involved with the Presqu'île property and the work we've done there is to somehow find a better place to stay. You know, they've created a beautiful world there, and there's nothing that quite comes up to the standards that they'd like to create. And so this is their opportunity. And what we've ended up with is a 38-room inn. And we pretty much need that much in order to make this a viable project. So we started with what's there, and we started massaging it, changing overhangs, changing some materials, turning it into something that we felt that was more appropriate for an inn in this part of the world, this part of California, and then started adding smaller buildings to sort of like supplement that. And as we did that, we architecturally want to massage and improve what's there, like we're still keeping the base, but adding on and expanding, you know, and creating a little bit more cohesive, what we consider to be a more cohesive design. Let's see, why don't we go to part 1, page 16. We have some 3D, you know, bird's eye views that I think are helpful to kind of tell the picture more. So, I mean, we have all the required drawings, but a lot of these this isn't what I'm looking for.
Is it sheet? What sheet? What letter sheet?
Part 1, page 16.
A? Right, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Oh, there we go. Okay. So can you blow up the top part just a little bit? So the original house is this portion of the center portion right here. And what we've done is, you know, we've started to change the details to sort of slowly change the character of the project. And then we're adding on, like, for example, this is hard to use. There's a new 4-unit building here. There's a new building in the back beside this, a couple more units. In order to just sort of fill out this development a little bit. And then this building here, which we affectionately call the stables for some time, just because we wanted it to be a part of this ranch, but it gives us an opportunity to start to slowly sort of massage the character a little bit. So to kind of create this idea of a village rather than just everything being the same. And then as you come down the slope here, there's this structure that is it's a gathering place. It's something that is there's a bocce court there. It's a hangout. It's just a pretty little place. It sort of feels like its own thing. It kind of goes along with the landscape that's developed around that. Can you scroll down? Okay.
I'm gonna submit it.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you. We're looking from the, you know, really, I guess it's really from the northwest here. So we have this existing primary development here. We're adding a swimming pool with that. These are the 12 casitas that are down the slope that Puck had mentioned that has a vineyard view. And then around the side of there is a small wellness area. That's basically a plunge pool, a sauna, you know, and another place to sort of like to have small gatherings. Can we go to, now that was what we had to start to work with. And the other thing we had to start to work with was the bunker. And we all love this thing. And so let me see, let me go to part 2, page 24. I don't know if you've seen the property. Everybody has always been struck with what an interesting structure the bunker is. So the part that's existing is really everything in gray here. Oops, sorry. There you go. Everything in gray here. That's an existing retaining wall. There's this brutalist concrete structure. It doesn't even have a roof on it. It has a partial roof and then a hole, and it's covered up with plastic. But everybody walks up there and they're like, wow, what is this? They go inside and it's just a mysterious space, you know, and so.
Excuse me, can I ask you to speak on the mic? That way the
Sorry,
people online can hear you. Thank you.
It's a mysterious space. It's got, you know, it's got an interesting light to it. And so our goal there was kind of the opposite of the house where we really felt like we needed to make some significant changes. We want to try to keep this as fresh as we can. And so our architectural goal is to minimize the addition, keep it low profile, and just allow it to be be turned into a useful building, which it's not right now. It's just a piece of concrete right now, you know, and we developed this idea especially with Puck, who was really strong bringing in the art program, that this is an art center. And it's an art center that can have events that support the art center, and also, in addition, to be able to support the inn as well. Let me, can we go to page 15? Okay. This is the wellness center. It's support for the inn, but also is intended to be open to the public. There's fitness rooms, there's dance studios, there's a spa, you know, and we're taking this thing and we're somewhat pushing it to the hill to keep it really low profile, and also to create these sort of protected spaces so that we can really take advantage of the indoor-outdoor space there. It's been something that's been a battle for the Murphys ever since we did the first developments there, is how do you handle the wind there? It really is probably the most important outdoor aspect of anything that you do, because it seems like it's almost always there. It makes it uncomfortable for people to spend time outside. And this is oriented in such a way that it keeps the buildings low profile and creates these outdoor spaces that really create protective areas. This building also serves, as part of this village concept, it serves as a link between the existing residence that's now being converted to the inn and the existing bunker that's now being converted into an art studio, an art center, I should say. So there's some elements of both parts here. There's some of the traditional materials. We're talking about clay roofs and stone and stucco, and then some more modern spaces, you know, where we feel it's appropriate. And so it's been this evolutionary process that's brought us to this point. Let's see. Can we go to the photo montage at the front? Do you know what sheet that is?
Is it the same file? No, it's the page sheets, part 1. File, page 1. Oh, what letter? Page A. Okay.
Thank you. Okay, so this is the top is the existing condition. There's what was a grand concept at some point of a very Italian design, and this gate idea was a part of that. We want to try to make this feel a little bit more like it belongs to the area. It'd be more low key. And also to create a frontage, a road frontage that somewhat ties into what's happened at the entrance to Presque Isle. We're not trying to replicate that, but there would definitely be a landscape element, a material element that allows these to feel like they have a relationship to each other. So we're talking about low stone walls, a low profile gate, and the kind of planting that that Puck was talking about, which is, basically oak meadows and just not a rigid, alley of trees, but something that's loose and soft, but also does help to screen the development in sort of a loose way. So as you come down Clark, you can't really see the development at all. And as you start to go further, can you go to the next page? You'll start to see a little bit, can you blow up the bottom one? You can see the existing buildings on the top right there that are visible from the street. And then, yeah, so we're proposing enough landscape screening that it would really soften any visibility of those buildings. Can we go to the next one? This is really kind of a big mess right now. What you're really seeing is the remains of the old, the old winery. And you can see if you go down, keep going. This is what we're proposing to screen. And also this is showing all the new development here. So really, I keep doing this. Sorry, can we go back? There we go. And can we blow up the bottom picture? The photo montage. There, okay. So this is really the only time you're really going to see anything that along the frontage. This is the way back there. That's the existing production building at Presque Isle. That's not part of this development. And then as you go to the right, this is the southeast building, which is actually the tallest part of our development, and we're asking for a hillside ridgeline exception for that building. And we have more details on that we'll show you next. This is the existing house right there. So you can start to see there's a little bit of visibility. And then the bunker itself, even though it is actually quite tall from grade, it's actually extremely low profile as viewed from the road. We're adding what I consider a pretty minimal amount onto the top of that building. It needs a lid. It's not a complete building the way that it is. And what we're doing is adding on a sort of an open space that's just has a lot of flexibility and is low profile, as we think as it works for the program that's intended. Can we go to the color board?
It's sheet A 0.04.
Thanks.
It's maybe page 4.
There we go. Okay. We're proposing a mix of natural materials, some natural stone and stucco, clay tile roofs, Corten metal. It's all earthy. We think that we developed this color palette first as we're trying to reimagine how the existing house could turn into the inn. And then we started to bring those colors into the rest of the project. Again, they're not exactly the same, but we're trying to create a transition, between the existing building, the new building is surrounded, the new buildings that have very, very slightly different character, and sort of by doing that, create something here that's more special than if it was just, identically designed buildings all the way from the front of the property to the back. So with that, I'd like to bring in my colleague, Pam Lau, and she can take you through all the grisly detail that you guys would like to see, because we have quite a lot of drawings here. Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Pam with Taylor Lombardo Architects. I'd like to kind of walk you through our Hillside Ridgeline studies next. Could we go to the next page, please? So this is kind of our master key plan for the Hillside Ridgeline studies that we've provided. All of the buildings that you are seeing in the white box pretty much indicates that it's outside of the Hillside Ridgeline. And as you can see, it's mainly in this area where we have the Inn complex, that where we are kind of encroaching into Hillside Ridgeline. The buildings that have this diagonal pattern indicate that it is in Hillside Ridgeline, but the buildings are not over 16 feet tall. And we have two buildings here. This is the main Inn building or the existing residence, as well as this where the existing barn is, and where we're proposing to build a new barn over it. Will be the only two buildings that are in Hillside Ridgeline, and the building exceeds the 16 feet or 19 feet height limit. Can we go to the next slide, please? Okay, so this is a study of the existing residence. Anything in the light gray shade is the existing roof or part of the existing structure. The dark gray shade indicates the addition to the building that we're proposing. And anything in red here is what we found to be over the height limit. And so you can see in the site sections, the existing two-story structures are exceeding that height limit. Here and here. I think we have one more section below. Oops. Yeah, and then anything that we're showing shaded in these site sections indicate the volumes that we are adding to the building. And can we go to the next slide? So this is the southeast building that I mentioned does not comply with Hillside Ridgeline, and where the existing barn used to be. And this has a 7 and 12 roof slope. And although it has a 7-12 roof slope, we are over the 19-foot height threshold. And this is where we would like to ask for an exemption for the Hillside Ridgeline. We feel that both of these buildings, the existing residence and this proposed house, the east building, are kind of sited where it's tucked in. And this this proposed new building, even though it is noted as 36 foot 8 inches tall, it is actually lower than the existing residence by 2 feet. We would also like to mention that we're trying to, when we're citing these buildings, we have been trying to minimize the site impacts and trying to, like as Puck mentioned, we're trying to be thoughtful about where there has already been land that's disturbed. And then we're trying to keep the footprint as small as we can as well. So this building is 2.5 stories tall, and it houses the back of house and support spaces for the inn at the first floor. And then the second floor has 5 keys or 5 rooms with a loft level that has 2 rooms. I'd also like to point out that by minimizing the effects of the surrounding landscapes and not disturbing the existing vineyards, we're trying to also minimize the environmental impact by locating it here. Okay, so I'll just go through the rest of the Hillside Ridgeline sheets. So this is the plan, and the site section below is for the north building. This is an existing garage. It is in Hillside Ridgeline, but it is not over 16 feet. And then similarly, the guest cottage at the top and the west addition below are in Hillside Ridgeline, but does not go over 16 feet. This east addition over here, where there was an existing bathroom building that we're replacing, is also in Hillside Ridgeline, but does not go over 16 feet. The same with this garden spot at the west side of the site. Next sheet. Okay, this is an ancillary building that is replacing an existing maintenance building. It is also in Hillside Ridgeline, but does not exceed 16-foot height limit. And then all of the structures below, the folly down by the Great Lawn, our other ancillary buildings here are outside of Hillside Ridgeline. Next sheet. And the 3 casitas that we're calling the south buildings are not in Hillside Ridgeline. This sheet illustrates the wellness center with the main building in the middle, and then there's the fitness building and the movement studio on flanking each end. The height of the main building is 31 foot 6 inches tall, and this whole complex is not in Hillside Ridgeline. Next sheet, please. And then this is looking at the existing bunker with the second floor addition. This building is about 46 feet tall, and it is not in Hillside Ridgeline. Similarly, the existing Tier 1 building that will be our receiving barn is not in Hillside Ridgeline. Okay, so we have a lot of architectural plans and elevations following these sheets, and I was wondering if you guys would like us to go over them. There are plans and exterior elevations for each building, and so just to respect your time, in case you have already gone through it, I'm not sure if we should be using that time to review it.
Yeah, I think just clarification, the existing residence is already over the limits of Hillside Ridgeline. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so you're just doing some minor additions to that that'll be compatible with the existing building.
Right.
What about I'm not so clear, is the old barn building an existing building that you're remodeling, or are you knocking it down and creating a new building there?
We're removing it and putting a new building on.
Okay, so there's more opportunity.
Using the existing pad.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because that seems to be considerably above the 19-foot limit. Isn't that like 38 feet or something?
It's
You have an elevation of that one?
36 feet 8.
Particularly.
Yes. Can we go to part 2? A sheets part 2. And then can we scroll down to sheet A 3.01 SB? It might be page. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. There it is. This is the elevation for that building. We have 10.5 feet between the first and second floor, and then 10-foot from the second floor to the loft level. And what we're doing here is kind of taking advantage of the steep roof slope. And
What was that?
we're taking advantage of the steep roof slope
Okay.
and adding these dormers in to include those loft level rooms.
Because that's virtually a 3-story building at this point then.
We're considering it more like a mezzanine level, like 2.5 stories.
Is there any opportunity to maybe look at that in terms of maybe eliminating the lofts or somehow expanding it a different way? Because it seems like this building doesn't, and I understand what the architect said earlier, but it doesn't seem to have the same character as the other houses, the inn that you're remodeling and the wellness center, for instance. At least when I looked at this initially, it seems like a lot of different proportions on this building than in the other buildings.
Right. I think this was purposeful in that sense, because this is a new building and we are still trying to create that sense of the village complex where maybe not everything is kind of following the same character as the inn, but it still kind of feels like it belongs together. We're using almost the same materials here with the stucco, the metal clad windows, and the stone that we'll be seeing around the landscape as well.
Okay.
Could you explain what the difference between natural grade and existing grade is on all your sections?
So the existing grade is what's existing right now, and the natural grade is the grade that was there before the development from the previous house.
And I see that you're using your 16-foot line from the existing grade rather than the natural grade. Is that the way it's supposed to work?
Yes.
Also, back to the height on this building. The rule is set up to prevent something like this. A tall building on a hillside or ridgeline. It was originally like, there were different rules. This one has been around since maybe 2005.
Different interpretations, different ways of interpreting.
Yes, but the intent was originally was a 1-story building. Really. This way, the way it's written now, you can terrace it down a building, but not put a building like this on a ridgeline.
Or you can recess it into the grade.
There's a lot of things that you guys are very good. And I know you can solve the problem.
Yeah, I also forgot to mention, but this building is, you won't really see it from Clark Avenue either.
It has a view, so other people can see it if you can see them.
Right.
The planner is also available online if there are any questions for Tina.
What's that?
The planner is also available online if there are any questions for Tina about the Hillside Ridgeline applicability and exemptions.
Also on the existing house, which I remember going through that years ago, and the only thing I remember that I thought was interesting was the size of the range. It was 8 feet long. It was amazing. You've added on to it. And some of the adding on to it has tripped the Ridgeline Hillside rule. Is that right?
No.
No,
It looked like.
already above.
Well, I saw the little bubbles and I thought it kind of came from the addition.
No, they're just adding a few.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I was gonna just.
Then they
pop
went up
and
higher.
Answer that question. So one of the reasons why we showed the existing versus natural grade is like when we look back at the original, because we have the original Adamo plans, it wasn't triggering Hillside Ridgeline, but some of the grading they did for that lawn area to create that little amphitheater, which we couldn't find whether that was permitted or unpermitted or not. That cut created the slope, which now we're causing,
For the house.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
So
well, that's, okay, I just needed for you to define what the difference between the two were, because
yep, and then same thing on the west side too, where we showed that fire pump structure, and there was a bunch of mulch piled on that picture I pointed out. That was a big pad that someone, you know, had flattened out and cut there, and that's what, for the other side of the house, what's triggering hillside ridgeline there too. So that's one of the reasons why we showed like natural, because someone obviously came in and cut those grades.
Teresa, can we
To the
grading plans just for context?
I just needed to know how, because some people use these words interchangeably, you know.
Yeah.
Also, I remember when the bunker was going through, that was supposed to be like an Italian, like
Yeah.
plaza. And it was self-contained, so you'd go there and look inward. And I think that was wasn't that a wine storage?
It was actually
Building?
the winery.
It's a tier 3 winery, 33,000 square feet.
There was gonna be a tunnel.
Yeah.
But you're right, it was supposed to be a whole kind of an experience, indoor, outdoor, kind of come spend a
You
afternoon.
walked into this thing and then you were, you know, you're out in the middle of somewhere and you were confined.
I think there was like a
There was a
theater, a
bunch
bell
of
tower.
courtyards and all kinds of stuff around it. Yeah, it was a huge plan.
Yeah.
And I like what you guys did coming up behind it and then entering the building from the top. Because that made it slicker.
Yeah, reduces the scale.
And then just a couple other comments regarding the taller building we call the south building. You know, we're aware that it's tall. We have to hit a certain number of keys to make this project financially viable. So we're kind of searching for keys. And you know, going up higher, we're able to not plant down another 5,000 square foot building somewhere and pull up 5,000 more square feet of vineyard or you know, landscaping. It's also
These guys can figure it out. I know they can.
I mean, we have spent a significant amount of time on this building alone. And part of it is really, you can't see it from Clark. There's no immediate neighbors. We are, you know, the Murphys are their own neighbors from a view shed perspective. It's kind of a tucked in hidden spot as well.
One of the things you do to make it less noticeable would be to terrace the building so that the outermost downhill part was the lowest part of the building.
Mhm.
But this is opposite of that too.
Yeah, there's a steep hillside off to the south of that building, which is, you know, that long backside.
Yeah, and it also works. The existing pad that's there that the barn is on is, what is it, Pam, like 12 feet lower than the house pad?
Yeah.
About. So it works well right now in that when you're up at what we're calling the main house pad, there's actually a pedestrian bridge that comes off of that grade and comes on to the level of where the keys are on that upper level. So it works from an accessibility standpoint because of those grades. It gets really challenging from an accessibility standpoint. You know, if we look at trying to terrace down the hill more, we did look at that.
Yeah.
I think it's important to note that, you know, a lot of these, the whole ridgeline thing wasn't there, you know, back in the 70s. It came about in the early 80s, and it was all driven by Montecito, and somebody didn't want somebody building a taller house in front of them. It was for a completely separate set of conditions for view corridors for the people that were there already. And I've lived through it, so I know why they did it and what they came up with. And in this instance, there's not a view blocking spot. You're the highest spot that's there basically at that house. You're not trying to create a spot that's higher so you can see over the next person. So in an individual location set, this thing doesn't present any real issues for the height, other than the quote unquote numbers on a piece of paper as far as rules are concerned. I didn't see anything that, you know, that where you were, like you said, the neighbors, you're not going to have anybody that's a neighbor that you're going to be blocking, and any neighbors that are 1,000 feet away at best. So they're not blocking any views either. So
And I think
from a vice standpoint, I could support, you know, encroachment into the height based on location and application. So
In addition to what Bobby said, it was really about not dominating nature and the hillsides. If you drive up from Santa Barbara from Ventura, you can see where the county line is. And you can see how all of the buildings react differently to the hills and how they blend in and go away. That's what this was about.
Well, the unique thing here is that the hillside ridgeline condition only exists because of grading by the Adama project
No.
on that particular building,
On the end.
on that particular building.
Just because of what we're building.
Okay.
Do we know what elevation is that shows like the full elevation of the existing house with the stables where you can see the roof lines?
It's not in the set, but it is 2 feet height
So
difference.
when you're out there, even with the stables building there, if you're standing on Presqu'île Drive and you're looking to the west, still what dominates that view is the existing house. It is, that existing, they're sited so close together, that existing house is still 2 feet taller and the massing of the existing house is a lot larger too.
The other thing is precedent, if we give a 2-time height limit, everybody's gonna ask for that, and we're gonna be flooded.
I went out there as a guest of them with Puck. And she asked me, I cleared it with Michael and with Shannon and went out and toured the entire site with them. Looking at it on paper and stuff right now, it may seem out of place, but when you're actually out there, it does make a lot of sense about how this integrates into the hill and the views that are being created.
I remember a long time ago reviewing a winery in Happy Canyon. And we had to drive like 2 miles on a guy's property, and there were longhorn cattle we had to wait for. It was a dirt road, I think. They wanted to build a winery in a gully that went up the side of a hill, but it was a ridgeline condition. And it was a gravity fed thing. So they had to have a height thing, and we said, sure, fine. But there was a lot of reasons for that, and site visits and all sorts of stuff. And that was 2 miles on a guy's property.
Yeah, I've had similar ones, especially with
We welcome the site visit first to come see it. And we're set back. I don't have the distance, but it's at least a half mile off of Clark for it. But I think when you came out, it is on paper, and when you put it on a standalone elevation, it looks big. But I think when you get out there,
It's a lot to take in.
Yeah.
Unless you're actually out there and standing in all these different places. But what do we spend 2 hours out there, I think, driving around and looking at all these spots? And it does start to make a lot of sense of how all this is being set up and organized.
Well, tell me why it has to be 35 feet tall.
38.
8 feet tall. Is it a 1-story building?
So the bottom floor is all of our back of house offices, storage, basically all the support staff space for the hotel. The level above that, which is on grade with the main inn, is 5 keys.
I like the look of the building a lot. I just wish it didn't break all the rules.
Could we zoom in on the image at the top, please?
The only way we can tell, you can do drawings and stuff, is when we get to it, which I'm sure is to do some polls and.
It sort of illustrates like how this is that existing.
Is this thing, it's on a pad that was created. Was the pad elevated, or did they cut down in?
They cut down.
50-50, it was,
I would say it, from my knowledge, it's a cut down pad, because you can kind of see where the natural grade was from the main house, and they cut that pad down.
When the Adamo did that, they did an extensive amount of grading.
Yeah.
So this isn't something that your guests are gonna go to.
This is one of the main.
Well, I thought it was offices.
The bottom floor is all the offices. So, I don't know if we can go back to, you want to go back to a
You
site
could
plan?
sink those guys in the ground.
That's what I'd like to encourage you
Go
to take a look
to-
at that. See
Yeah.
if you could sink that lower level a little bit to reduce. I mean, maybe not get it to 19 feet, but I mean, I understand you need the square footage and I appreciate not
Yeah.
disturbing more ground area than necessary, but perhaps there's an opportunity to, since it's a new building, I have less concerns on the inn or the existing house. But maybe on this new building, there's an opportunity to lower that into the hillside, back it up even a little bit. It looks like there's a little slope on the backside. If you could get that down a little bit, I think I personally find it.
And maybe get rid
more
of the half
compatible.
story on top.
Yeah. And I just want to say I really appreciate this discussion, and I know it will continue. But we did study that a lot, and I think one of the things that I've really appreciated about the process that this team has gone through is that Wallace Group, our civil engineers, have been engaged from the very beginning. And so, as well as the people who are really knowing what goes into hospitality programming, you know, the amount of linen washing. I mean, I've learned more about this than I can believe, but we've really looked at all those details. And so one of the big challenges with a project like this is meeting ADA for all areas, including employees and that kind of thing. So the elevation of that building was a combination of trying to thread the needle to provide handicap access, because we wanted walkable handicap access, not just being stuck in a cart like you are at Bacara, to be able to really move around the property. My husband uses a walker, so I'm really familiar with this. And so we're really threading the needle to get to points where if we lowered it anymore, then we were kicking out our pedestrian ADA accessibility throughout the site. We'd have to create about 2 more, switchbacks cutting through the landscape. And so these are, I just wanted to bring up some of the challenges that we're really looking at this level of detail at concept, which I think is really important, because you can come up with all kinds of fabulous ideas, but they get blown up in schematic. And some of these things, you just, as somebody reviewing projects, you go, wow, you're going to be stuck with that down the road and you haven't thought about that. So that's where our challenge with this lies. But I think in terms of the findings that one can make, I think we're close to the kind being able to look at particular findings that make this possible. Tweaking here and there, I think, is also possible, but I think the actual siting was something we really did give a lot of study to. Thank you.
But since you're there, I have a site question. On the road going in, it looks like if you go in and hit the gate, you have to back out. Is there going to be any kind of way of turning around cars?
You mean when you first go through the gate?
Off the road, and it looked like you drove up to the gate and then you're going to have to back up if it's closed. Are you guys thinking about fixing that? Because on Presqu'île, you have to do that.
On Presqu'île, you do have to do that.
And I've had to do that. And that's a very dangerous road.
Well,
That's a good point.
yeah, one thing that we're addressing
Oh, okay.
here is that, at Presqu'île, when you're driving out there, it sneaks up on you, right? A lot of people go right by it. Because there's lack of signage, the deceleration lane doesn't feel adequate. So for this project, much wider throat coming in the project, much larger deceleration lane, and we'll actually hopefully be addressing that at Presqu'île as well.
Think about some kind of you do that on housing tracks even.
Yeah.
County Fire will likely require that.
Yeah, I mean, when you're backing out of this one because of the much larger throat, you would not be out on Clark.
Yeah.
I
Just a couple.
agree, it's important.
I just wanted to say a couple of things at this point. First of all, we're not going to solve all the problems today.
No.
I would just like to, first of all, just say, I really feel honored to be part of this. This is what I categorize as a once-in-a-generation legacy project that is quite extraordinary. And what you see on top of the hill based on what's going on beneath everything is staggering. And I mean, to think of even pulling this off is pretty amazing. And what I keep going back to is I was quite surprised initially. I thought, is this going to be visually a carryover from Presqu'île? Very modern, you know, very angular. And then to see this, and I've got to tell you, I went to Italy. If you spend any time in the wine countries, the country of Italy, you see little villages on top of hills. They're not so concerned with controlling the ridgeline. I mean, I lived in Santa Fe, New Mexico for many years, and you did not touch a ridgeline. Everything had to be below the ridgeline. This, because of how it's situated, it almost makes sense that you want it to be seen a little bit. Plus the fact that I think the views from there will be just magnificent. So I'm just really thrilled to see this. I know that there will be multiple iterations of this between now and when we get to come for an opening. And I just wanted to say congratulations for getting it this far.
Thank you. Also, I just want to do a shout out to North County. You know, I moved to the San Ynez Valley 56 years, a long time ago.
A while back.
You can tell. But there's always been this sort of, you know, working in Montecito and stuff, people just like getting them over the hill. They don't even know about, what do you mean Orca, Santa Maria? And I've always been sort of north focused. And so to me, this is really a culmination of, and the Murphys being pioneers here, that it's time for the North County to kind of be present and people, I mean, and as far as the bunker goes, you know, we've had quite a few people come up and visit, and they were just blown away. And the whole faculty and Alan Hancock's been over. And so it's been very collaborative. And so I'm very excited about the North County. I really wanted to, you know, get to the level that it really, that the people of the North County deserve. Because there are a lot of brilliant, creative people up here, and they need to be seen. So.
And there's a lot of vision here.
Thank you.
Shout out to the family.
Yep. Thanks.
I have a couple questions. The barn that you're taking out and the building that you're putting back in, you're not doing any other grading other than access roads. You're not going to change a pad elevation or anything like that. And I think to your point with regards to precedents, that you already have a tiered system out there. And the only reason we're bringing up ridgeline is because of the fall within a certain radius of a fall of 16. It's not truly a ridge until you're on top of the hill at the existing house. It just happens to be what we call it.
Well, we call it hillside and ridge.
Hillside and ridgeline. But what I'm saying is that I don't think we're going to set a precedent from everybody to come in and then ask for doubles or triples.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, I'm thinking that along with a site visit and to be on ground, looking at where everything is going to be. I think that's going to be that'll be the deciding factor.
You can see the stove.
It's actually in that barn right now.
Is it?
Yeah, they pulled it out, so we'll grab it.
How many burners? I can't remember. There were like 12 burners on it or something.
Yeah, it's huge.
It's a big stove.
Okay.
Real quick, this is the planner, Tina Mitchell. I just wanted to point out that there is provisions in the land use code for exemptions to the hillside ridgeline requirement, and there's basically findings that the board of architectural review would need to make. So I will have those in a planner memo for you for the next meeting. But I just want to let you know that there's provisions and you have to make findings, and so it wouldn't necessarily be setting a precedent, I would say.
Usually we say in the.
We have done that before.
Yeah.
And we've had very carefully worded findings. to be specific to that project and limited to that project, so.
And how tall is the barn now? I don't remember these.
It's 19 feet to the ridge right now.
So it's 19 and your guys are going 36?
Right.
And just while we're here answering, in terms of being able to sink it down, another component, programmatic component of that downstairs is it's also a garage for us. So like all of our service vehicles, our golf carts and stuff like that are pulling in, staging in there and pulling out the other way. So, dropping it down would cause some wrinkles with that as well, and finding another place to house that program, if that makes sense. We were trying to consolidate, with any, hospitality project, trying to consolidate back a house, away from the main campus as possible, trying to keep that circulation of those back house vehicles away from the main campus as possible as well.
I know you can think of something.
Yeah, I mean.
If you have any ideas, let us know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think the solution so far has been very creative, and I compliment the architects for this.
Yes.
But I just think that there might be another opportunity here and I'm just encouraging to continue exploring that before we commit to no return.
How far off are you guys?
A
There's a
lot.
lot of drawings.
Yeah.
Or how far off?
From-
You're saying on the height?
No,
Are you for actually submitting for a project?
just getting beyond this initial and then
Oh, and-
getting a determination on the ridge line.
You need it prior to hearing, and we just got the submittal a few weeks ago. So,
Okay, so you're years away.
well, I wouldn't say that, but the planner's doing their first 30-day review at this time.
Okay.
So,
And I'd like them to come back and just do a building or two at a time, that we can look at each one of them, because this is a lot to digest.
But if they've done that, Jim, you'd ask for the whole thing.
Well, that would be before they start talking, would be the overall, and then they, so.
Well, I'd have to say that would destroy the economics of the project. It wouldn't be viable.
Do
To do it one at a time.
Oh, I think.
I didn't mean one building there.
Individual building, he means studying, but no, I think seeing the whole thing is the way to see it.
Jim, correct me if I'm wrong. I think that Jim was asking for during a meeting to look at just a couple of buildings or a single location, and then
A group.
not try to look at all the locations all at once, but the project as a whole. Everybody would want to see the project as a whole, as an overview, as you've done it today.
Yeah, as it fits. You got to show how it fits in the group, and then, because it's a lot of buildings.
Are we just saying basically like if we were coming back for preliminary, that breaking that into like a couple different meetings versus trying to do it all at once? Is that what you're suggesting?
Yeah, because it could go on for, 4 hours.
Mhm.
Unless we can set that time.
what we
That
could
would be
do
the
is a
only
special
thing.
meeting. We could do a special meeting and this could be the only item. And maybe start with a comprehensive overview of the site and then look at each building, get comments on each building sequentially. I think that would be useful because it's hard. The plan set is huge. Teresa's trying to jump around and it's difficult, but maybe that approach makes sense for the next meeting to start with the overview and then go building by building with comments on each structure, if that would be,
Area or something.
yeah, or like,
Just 2 pieces.
right. I don't know what your preference is, but
Yeah.
that way the
For instance-
applicant can be prepared in that way.
What do you call it? The bunker building
Yeah.
down below,
Mhm.
the art building?
Mhm.
Maybe we look at that as a different time and concentrate on one part of the hillside
Would it be,
in the wellness center and the.
would it be advisable to do a somewhat brief site visit before this next meeting? Is that something that could be done?
Yeah, I think that'd be very helpful.
They're typically scheduled the morning of the hearing, like from 8 to 9.
That would be great.
And I think just because where our design team is traveling from too, if we can figure out more of a special meeting where we can work through as much of it in a day as we can, it would
Sure. I mean,
definitely help the economics
Absolutely.
of bringing people here multiple times. No problem.
No, we'll have Jim cook it on that range.
Oh, by the way, that range can be for sale. It's out of the kitchen and in the barn.
That's Madison Murphy speaking.
How much are you paying us to haul it away, Madison?
We'll have to talk offline.
And it had little French knobs on.
Yeah. So you guys want to keep going or?
I have no more comments for today, so.
No.
My final comment would be, let's try to get a special meeting set up that we don't have to deal with anybody else to kind of help you guys out and help us out at the same time. Yeah.
Hey, Tina,
Yes, I'm here.
can you look at scheduling, when they're ready?
Mhm.
That if we have to have a special meeting that we can, and then we can incorporate that site visit that morning.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'll work with the applicant on that and hearing support.
I just did have one other comment though. The lower overflow parking lot, it looked like it didn't have a whole lot of landscaping around it. So maybe integrating some trees or something into that would help kind of not make it just a big giant Texas style parking lot.
Right now, that we're currently planting avocado. We've started avocados were planted several years ago on the south end, and they're slowly being planted to the north. So I think by the time this project is actually coming around, it'll probably be in an orchard. But it's something when we do a site
But
visit
it just
too,
didn't look like there was anything integrated within the confines of the whole
parking
area.
Yeah.
Some islands in there or something.
It's really, I mean, we can absolutely look at it, but it's really designed for an event lot that's, used for.
Want to running into trees if they've had too much wine. Right?
Yeah. But we can definitely look at that.
Sure. I think it's a great project.
I think
Yeah, I'm sorry, I just had a clarification. So I think our hope is that we could do a site visit and then come back and address the comments that have been brought up. So I just wanted to verify that if there were any other comments that we need to address before we come back.
I think the biggest one is the height.
Okay. On that one particular building.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
And we don't have to do a site visit on the same day as the meeting. We can do it.
We would like to do that just because of the team coming from.
Yeah, it would be
Texas, if possible.
County costs. So I think everyone would have the shared interest in doing it on the same day.
You just have to get up earlier.
And yeah, one other comment, we did, as everyone has said, a lot of front loading. So I know there were some jokes about, it's going to be a couple years before you go to the PC. We're hoping really quick. So we're hoping to get, conceptual review. I know it's not an official approval, but so we could get to the PC as quickly as possible with a complete project.
Yeah, I'm talking about walking in the doors.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Teresa, do we have public comment?
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I look forward to this.
No, it's an exciting project.
That's it, right?
Yeah, we don't have any.
We don't have any public comments, so.
Well, this is just conceptual, so I probably wouldn't ask. So with that, if does anybody else want to speak on this before we let y'all go? Okay, perfect. Then I'll ask now for a motion to adjourn this meeting. Second, all in favor.
Thank you all very much.
No, I don't want to go home yet.